Panthers baseball here on KPTV Live. Mark Perry alongside Marshall Crocker, the enemy, showing up here in the house tonight as the Kitchener Panthers take on the Brantford Red Sox. And Marshall, let's just get right into it. The Kitchener Panthers on a bit of a cold spell. The hitting has really struggled as of late. The pitching has really struggled as of late. When you take a look at the last 6 games compared to the previous 8, the ERA is nearly doubled with this Panthers team. And when you look at this last 6 games specifically, you can maybe take a grain of salt out of that 7-6 defeat to the Guelph Royals, where they had a really good 7th inning, stealing 7 bases. But they just have not figured things out at home, especially losers of 5 straight games here at the couch.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Today is really going to be the case of, the worst split home road for each of these teams. Brantford's really struggled on the road, not just this season, but even the last year. They've had a tough time, busy weekends, rattling back and forth home and road. That's what they're going to do this weekend. It's going to be 4 games in about 6 days, 3 of them on the road. This Red Sox team, something about their offense especially, has had trouble transitioning over to opposing ballparks. The pitching's been all right. The thing today to watch out for Kitchener, if they start to get a little bit of a door opening in the 5th or 6th inning with the Brantford relievers that have had a little bit of trouble in the deeper innings, is that where the Kitchener offense can find their footing? Nowhere better to get a big win at home than, here at Jack Couch Park for Kitchener. Nowhere better, I think, for Brantford to really start cooking, building momentum than a big win on the road. A team, they're not on a losing streak after beating Hamilton earlier this week. 1 win in the last 5 games. Both teams, we're going to see who's got bark and bite on Bark at the Park night today. Both teams, though, desperately going to need this one.
Well, let's take a look at that matchup graphic as we compare these 2 rosters. You look at the Kitchener Panthers. They're 5-9 to start the season. There we go. 3-8 record for the Brantford Red Sox. And you look at that comparison. Kitchener's scoring runs, but they're giving up just as many as the Brantford Red Sox here. And you take a look at the average and the ERA. I mean, Brantford batting a little bit better as of late. The ERA, 2 teams that are in the basement of the CBL at this stage.
One of the best macros in the league for any team is how good Brantford's been through the first 5 innings. Our starters have really just been, because of how spaced out our games have been, with a lot of delays. Irvin and Klepper are pitching basically every start today. Irvin's going to be back on the mound, and they've done a really good job holding it down in the early innings, establishing a good zone while racking up the strikeouts. And again, it's that transition to a newer, younger bullpen here for this Brantford team. That's where it's fallen apart. If you take out the bottom 10% of innings for Brantford, they're probably up in an ERA near 5, but that's not how baseball works. They got to make sure they maintain, they stop the bleeding. I think if they can do that today, that ERA for both teams is going to start working its way down. But 2 good offenses in a good offensive park. I don't expect those pitcher numbers to go up today as much as the offensive ones.
Well, let's see what Pete Kiefer had to say as he chatted with our own Cameron Stirrup. Here is that conversation.
Rain out on Sunday. Kitchener Panthers back in action. I'm here with manager Pete Kiefer as the Panthers get set to take on the Brantford Red Sox tonight. Pete, Evan Elliott on the mound tonight, of course, and the boys in general got a little bit of a break. Obviously this week, were you keeping things a little bit more loose in training with the extended time off, or are you keeping the guys a bit on a tighter leash?
Good question. It's a day-to-day thing. You can't push hard for 4 days in a row, and you can't loosen up for 4 days in a row. So it's about being able to pace yourself. The guys knew what they had to do to get ready for this game. We had a heavy work day before yesterday. Yesterday was a light day in anticipation of playing today. And we even had some guys show up this morning for optional work that really just wanted to get extra work in. And that's what you do when you're trying to come out of a slump. And so, guys are doing what they have to do. I think our headspace is where it should be right now. We're in a good place mentally. I think now it's just a matter of going out on the field and proving to ourselves that we're as good a team as we started the season. They're starting to question themselves. There's no doubt about it. You can see it in their faces when they're on the mound, when they're in the plate. The one bright spot has been our defense. Our defense has been stellar. No complaints there. But it's just a matter of pitchers getting ahead of hitters and hitters having tougher stats.
How's Evan feeling today ahead of the matchup here tonight?
Talked to him yesterday. He said he feels great. He's ready to go, and he looks pretty good so far. So we'll find out. Again, these aren't the greatest conditions, but I'm counting on Evan's mental toughness to get him through this, because he's a tough nut, and I'm betting on him against anyone else in the league. So I'm going with Evan tonight, and regardless of the conditions, it might get slick, it might get slippery, it might get cold and windy, but I know he's going to power through for me regardless, because he's not an excuse maker. He guys just goes out there and gets it done.
And obviously last week we talked about the signing of Ernesto Pinales. Yet another signing for the Panthers, of course, Noah Boughton coming in, a utility guy who seems to be rather obedient at the plate. How are you looking at his arrival coming in here, and what are your expectations for him?
Well, I like the way he's obedient. On K9 night, we got the dogs at the park here tonight, so it's important we have obedient hitters as well as obedient fans tonight. However, yeah, he's definitely got a good knowledge of the strike zone, and his numbers coming in show that he's a high contact guy, gets on base. He's got some pop in his bat. He can drive and run. He'll be a nice addition, and we're going to give him a chance to kind of prove where he belongs in the lineup too. But tonight he's just going to kind of ease his way in, get used to being around the guys, and we're going to go with our lineup that's been scoring over 6 runs a game. So I think that's enough to put us on the board and win a close ball game. Now it's a matter of, can our pitching and our defense do their job and getting us where we got to be.
Awesome. Pete, thank you once
My
again.
pleasure. Yep.
See if the boys can get out of the doghouse tonight. Yet another one.
Yes, there you go.
Mark and Marshall, back up to you. All right.
Thank you very much, Cameron. Let's take a look at the lineups. First of all, we take a look at the Kitchener Panthers, the home side, getting introduced onto the field right now. They're going to be led off by Matteo Zeppieri, Petey Kiefer, and Yasvani Pinolve, with Malik Williams in the cleanup spot as the first baseman today. Marshall, when you take a look at the rest of this lineup, Rafi Gross, Josh Williams, Junior Ibarra, Zane Scansey, Yosuke Fuji, there you see them on the screen. Should be a potent lineup on paper, and we'll see if they can get things done. Very quickly, before we go to Anthem, let's check out the other side, the Brantford Red Sox, and the lineup that they're going to be putting out there today.
Slightly new look. A lot of guys in day-to-day injury positions. They're still trying to rehab back. Specifically, Jacob Cantor, you see top of the lineup. He's usually the everyday shortstop for this team. He's great on defense, but still working through an arm injury. He's going to be playing today as the DH to keep his offensive value there. That's going to bump our everyday catcher, typically Cassidy White, out of the lineup. But Andrew Savage hitting in that 5 spot. Talk about one of the hottest hitters in the league. A guy that was our backup catcher, pinch hitting in the late innings. He's played about half the at-bats of anybody, and he's had just as much offensive production as we head to the national anthem.
Yeah, he's hitting .412 is Andrew Savage. We'll see what the lineups will bring about today as we throw it to the field. Time for some baseball here on a Thursday night. An overcast sky. There was some rain in the forecast. There was a lot of rain earlier on today, but it looks like the field conditions are good for some baseball. 15 degrees, the wind blowing out, so that could be home run weather, if I do say so myself. Let's take a look at the umpires for tonight's game. First, we see Matt Neely at home plate. He is going to be calling the balls and strikes and is the crew chief. Hayden Moore is over at first base, and Mike Guthrow, a regular around these parts, he's over at third. Let's take a look now at the starting pitcher for the Kitchener Panthers, and it is Thursday. You know what that means. Evan Elliott is on the hill.
Yes, indeed. Sixth third of the season. You can see his numbers there. Really good split. Walks to strikeouts. He's a guy that's going to control the zone quite well. Liked what I saw from him the last game I was out here in Kitchener. He's going to be a guy that I think tries to attack the zone, very similar to who we're going to see on the mound next half inning here for Brantford. Both guys are going to attack the zone, and that's a risky proposition. You just talked about the wind heading out there to the outfield. Today could start to look like a home run derby if these pitchers can't get their placement right on their harder pitches. But I think he's a guy that can do so. Obviously a veteran of the league, former Toronto Maple Leaf. I think he's going to give the Brantford lineup their best look today here at home.
Well, it's going to be interesting just with the way the Panthers and their pitching, they have struggled as of late on this 4-game home slide as part of this 6-game losing skid. They have given up the home run early, they have given up the home run often, and they really got to stem that tide as they tried to do so earlier on against Toronto last Friday. As there you see our title card. Brantford and Kitchener, we are getting set for some baseball. Jacob Cantor will start things off here for the Brantford Red Sox. Glad to have you along.
Going to make a prediction right here. If Jacob Cantor sees a pitch in the zone, he's swinging at it, and he's swinging hard. He always does when he leads off.
First pitch. Puts that one into right field. He's got a deep charge onto it, and right on the warning track is Yosvani Penalve to make the catch. Let's take a look at the defense for the Kitchener Panthers playing in behind Evan Elliott this evening. Zepieri, Gross, Penalve, the usual trio out in the outfield. Fuji, Kiefer, Scansey, and Malik Williams in the infield, and Junior Ibarra is in behind home plate.
Here's the defending CBL Player of the Week.
Brody Black will take a first pitch strike. Saw Rod Black was on the Hamilton broadcast last week.
There's been some fun celebrity step-ins and some broadcasts across the league this year.
The 0-1, that one's going to be put into center field, and he makes the catch! Rafi Gross goes ham and dives to make the grab.
Very well hit ball there. Had the perfect tracking. Had a little bit of wind to keep it moving left, but Gross there ranging to his right. Perfect first step, and that is the perfect prototypical range you want to see from a great center fielder. What a snag.
Walker Holmgren, the lefty, will now come up here. Just 3 pitches so far for Evan Elliott, and he's already recorded 2 outs. Or rather, no, they put him on base. Didn't look like he made the. It looked like he made the catch from here, but Rafi Gross, I guess he dropped it. And Brody Black is on. Gets a piece of it.
So one thing I want to talk about today, one of the biggest discrepancies in stats between these two sides into today, the stolen base discrepancy. To this point in the season, guys like Zepieri, Scansey, they have the Panthers up at 41 on the season. Brantford, 4 stolen bases so far this year. It hasn't been a priority of the offense. Brody's got a little bit of speed here. I want to see what the guys start doing here today against Junior Ibarra, veteran catcher of the league, but they might test his pop time here early because I know Brantford wants that stat to start going back their way.
Well, I know Guelph started testing him last Saturday, and Junior got the best of him early, but Guelph, they kept persistent, and they started snagging a couple of bags here and there. So we'll see how that plays out, as that's a foul ball, as it'll go out of play.
A lot of the best speed options here for Brantford actually not in the lineup here today. Cassidy Watt, he's a catcher, but he's a surprisingly quick option. Guys like Bateman, Crosis towards the bottom of the lineup might be the best bet, but a mostly power profile here today for Brantford.
An 0-2 count here on Holtgren. The delivery. Swing and a miss for strike 3, and there's 2 away here in the first.
Walker Holmgren's been a hard guy to get strikes on to this point in the season. He's had perfect discipline, and he's done a really good job timing up stuff up high that time. Nice job there by Elliott to keep his eyes moving. Finally gets that pitch he likes up top, and Holmgren swings and misses.
Nick Ianantone now the batter. The left fielder hitting .350 on the season. And Marshall, you've been talking about it. Nick Ianantone, he's been hot as of late. That's going to miss down and in.
And that's a big part of why. His discipline. He's always a guy that finds himself in positive hitters counts, and he just has a beautiful prototypical swing, true all-fields hitter, and a great lefty to boot for this mostly righty Brantford lineup.
Elliott gets set. The 1-0. That one's going to clip the outside of the black.
A lot of guys here for Brantford, they like to get the arms extended. A lot of our power hitters, they like to do it with a real wide swing. If we see a wide zone today for the lefties, that's going to be tough for Elliott to keep up with in the middle of this Brantford lineup.
1 ball, 1 strike. The throw into second base, and he got him. But he slid right into Zane Scansey, and Scansey's down.
Carried a lot of speed through the bag.
Or rather, that's Petey Kiefer. My apologies. Yes, that's Petey Kiefer who's down, and that's not good.
No, he came to play up. Black came in with a ton of speed. He didn't really check up on the bag. He tried to kind of play through it. I think it was the right leg of Black as he extends it out. I think it got in the lower extremities there on Kiefer, and I believe he's going to come out of this ball game.
Well, we are through to the home half of the first inning. We'll see if he is coming out of the ball game. He's hitting second in the lineup here. And he would be a big loss for this Kitchener Panthers lineup if he indeed comes out of this ball game.
Of course, the team's RBI leader. He's looked really strong to start the season. I think he's going to be a really interesting matchup if he can stay in. Unfortunately, it looks like he likely won't. But if he makes an offensive appearance against Connor Irvin, those two guys both going to challenge the zone. Kiefer's done a really good job keeping up with stuff up high. That's what our starter coming in here for Brantford's going to want to do today. He is going to pound the zone. He's going to make you really work around the corners. We're going to know the zone because Connor Irvin is going to test every edge of it. The Panthers' plate discipline is going to be tested here, but Connor is a guy, if you can time him up over the course of the game, he doesn't have quite as deep of a pitch repertoire as a lot of guys, but what he's good at, he is incredible at, and he is going to be a guy that can rack up strikeouts here early if Kitchener's not careful.
Connor Irvin, 0-2 to start the season, 17 innings pitched, 19 strikeouts to 8 walks, so very similar to what we saw with Evan Elliott, that strikeout to walk ratio favoring the pitcher quite well. But again, Connor Irvine into his 5th appearance, his 5th start of the season, the Victoria, BC native, just 25 years of age, his 2nd year as a member of the Brantford Red Sox.
I'm always a big guy. I like to keep an eye on the pitch count. I like efficient pitchers that are quick in the early innings. Connor's play style plays to a lot of not so much ground balls, but hard hit liners. This is the true Brantford defense back. Most of their injured players aren't, everyday defensive starters. Brantford, they got to keep their feet set. They got to be ready. A lot of stuff might go and play here early.
Here's Matteo Zeppieri to lead things off. Swing and a miss for strike 1, and we can tell you that Petey Kiefer is on deck, taking some hacks, just getting ready to go in there. So it looks like he's going to be all right, but we'll see how he is faring as this game goes along.
So there's the changeup. We've seen the high heat. We've seen the changeup. Those are going to be his 2 primaries today.
That's popped up. It's going to fly out to center field. Hultgren gets underneath it. He'll make the catch. And just like that, there is 1 away. Let's take a look at the defense playing in behind Connor Irvin.
Yes, indeed. It's going to be, like I said, pretty typical look here for Brantford. Everyday catcher Cassidy Watt not playing today. It's going to be Andrew Savage because with his offensive value lately, the way he's been hitting, they need Jacob Cantor at short. He's still recovering from an arm injury. Usually he'd be the shortstop. Keep an eye on former Panther AJ Carosis. He's going to have a big job today there at short.
So here is Petey Kiefer. Hitting .281 on the season, a .406 on-base percentage, as that's going to miss just on the outside. 2 balls, no strikes. Well, if you want to think about the pitch count there, Marshall, 10 pitches for Evan Elliott to get out of that first inning. Not too bad, as that one is sent out of play.
Yeah, I think both guys are going to play with fire in that regard here today. Really interesting matchup on the mound to see specifically here at Jack Couch Park. If those balls we saw on the warning track, that one will hit liner to center, or that ball to right field keep happening, might see more of that.
The 2-1 is going to clunk Kiefer, and he is frustrated as he'll just throw the bat and take a spot at first base. So he's been slid into and he's been clunked, and we're only 14 minutes into this game.
Yeah, battered and bruised. Probably feels like he's in the doghouse here on Bark in the Park night, but certainly a guy that I think Connor is going to want to challenge on the inside on these really good offensive hitters. Petey Kiefer, the way he was pitching to him there in that first at bat means he's taking him seriously, and he should. He's going to be one of the biggest threats here for Kitchener today.
Yasvani Penalve will step in here. A very lefty-heavy lineup for the Kitchener Panthers, including Penalve, who is hitting .351 on the season. That's just going to miss upstairs. He was looking for that top corner.
That's going to be a spot. It's going to be what he wants to establish here early. Not going to be a bad spot, though, for Penalve, knowing his hitting profile. Like for Penalve to see, almost even so far this year, walks and strikeouts.
4-game hitting streak for Penalve coming into tonight as well, as that's crushed down the line. It's got distance, but it's going to stay in the ballpark, and Brody Black makes the catch.
Brody Black, not always like prototypical range and speed there in right field. He's a great athlete. He's got good range, but his first step, he is a soothsayer. He's a truth teller. He sees where the ball's landing before it gets there. Really good instinct by the right fielder.
Oh, he can do it with the bat, hence his Hitter of the Week award that he just received, but just showing there, he can show some range and do it in the outfield as well. As here comes Malik Williams. Malik, 405 average to start the year. Just a lot of pop. That's going to miss way on the outside.
2 weeks ago when I was here at Jack Couch, he was hitting 460. It was him and Andrew Savage both up over 460 to start the year. Just unbelievable some of the runs these guys have been on, even despite the losing streak, still up above 400.
Well, it's just been consistency, really. The 1-0, that's going to miss inside. I mean, you count it up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games with at least a hit for Malik, dating back to May 28th against London. In fact, in all the games that he's played, he's only gone 0 for once, as that one skied into deep right field, and that one is gone. The hitting streak continues, and Malik Williams has a home run. It's 2-0 Kitchener.
What a shot there to deep right field. Walker Holker, the center fielder, took about 3 steps. That one was a no-doubter going over his head. And it's just one of those things. If you get in a good count against a guy you know wants to throw fastballs high and you can catch up to it that early, you're going to find pay dirt like Malik Williams just did there.
His 3rd home run of the season. The big 6'4", 230 righty. As he burns the Red Sox here in the early going, and that is exactly what you need here for Kitchener, establishing an early lead. As Rafi Gross nearly made a highlight reel catch in the top half of the first, now looking to do some damage with the bat.
Really having trouble here as Irvin Early establishing that inside part of the plate here on these righties. It's going to make his day very difficult.
That's going to be way outside. And one thing that I talk about, Marshall, and it's not something that is seen as much at Arnold Anderson Stadium because it is a more pitcher-friendly ballpark, in my opinion.
Yep.
The pitchers here at Jack Couch, there's almost that added pressure that you need to be picture perfect on your pitches because 1 inch inside a little bit too much, as that's just going to reach inside and put the count at 3-0. 1 false move, and that ball's on Ottawa Street. That ball is on Highway 7.
Yeah, it's very well put. It's the Colorado Rockies Coors Field effect we've seen for decades, right? As that one does finally hit the zone. It's one of those things that I don't even think it's necessarily picture perfect necessarily for the hitter or for the pitchers. I think it's you got to know your zone. You got to know, okay, how much do I have to risk stuff right over the heart of the plate, stuff that can get barreled well, like we just saw from Williams.
The 3-1 is going to miss on the outside to put Rafi Gross on base. And this also comes in and always puts an onus on the umpire as well to, be consistent with your calls. If you're going to establish a strike zone, here's what it is. Establish it early and don't sway away from it, because it does make the pitchers guess. It does make the batters guess. And, if you're swaying away from it, you start to lead, you start to see, both sides not thinking too highly of the counts that are in there, and that's what leads to mistakes. That's what leads to home runs.
I don't believe in a perfect zone. I don't think there's an objective right way to call it. You just got to be consistent. That one in play there down the hole between first and second.
Absolutely. As going first to third is going to be Rafi Gross. He gets in there safely. A base hit for Josh Williams.
So an early hit there for both the Williams. That one very well barreled there, just lined straight over the head of the second baseman, Lucas Bateman. Really good instinct. He always loves to jump over those ones, but that one was well and clear over his head. And this is going to be a big spot here. Not too much damage yet. Runner on the corners. And luckily with Josh Williams, not usually a stolen base threat. But again, talk about limiting stolen bases here for Brantford. That split 41-4. Opportunities like this later are probably ones Brantford's got to keep an eye on, because you cannot give up any runs to this Panthers offense early.
Junior Ibarra, the batter, as he takes strike one. And, Junior, let's make no bones about it. This guy has struggled all season long, just hitting 174, 8 for 46 on the year, and definitely wants to get that average up as he swings and misses at that one.
But talk about a heart of the defensive infield, right? And I don't think you can undersell the value of having a quarterback on the defensive side and near the plate. He's such a veteran of this league. So, he's been here so long. Some concerns necessarily maybe with the pop time to second we've seen to start this season, but a guy worth more than his offensive value.
There's a swing and a miss for strike three, as that will end the inning. But a two-run shot from Malik Williams deep into right center field has put the Panthers on top 2-0 as we go to break. You're watching KPTV Live. Panthers 2, Brantford no score.
Let me into my zone. Please don't let me into my zone. 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 Please don't let me in. Yeah. Can't answer my phone now. Just leave it there, that tone. Ballin' can't beat me up, cause I'm back in my zone now. Cause I'm back in my zone now.
Well, that's a good boy right there. Boy or girl, who knows, as the Brantford Red Sox are in town. It is 2-0 Kitchener here on Bark in the Park night. Whole lot of doggos hanging out here tonight, as Nick Iannantone will take his first hacks of the game here for the Brantford Red Sox here against Evan Elliott. Pitch number 11 is going to be a fly ball. It's going to stay in play. Junior chasing it down, and they're not going to be able to get to it.
Still keeping an eye on the weather there. That kind of lateral wind we've seen. I think it was blowing left to right there in the early inning. You kind of saw that on the home run for Williams, the way that ball tracked. It is going to be unpredictable here today. Luckily, though, very overcast conditions. Visibility not going to be much of a question unless you consider the color off the very dark gray clouds.
An 0-1 count here on Iannantone, the left fielder. That one's going to miss way outside. Well, with the overcast sky, another thing to think about too, Marshall, is that usually at this time of night, if it's pure sunshine, you got the sunshine splitting home plate and the pitcher's mound. The 0-1 is going to miss on the outside. So that ends up, throwing either side off. I mean, you're a pitcher throwing into the sun, and, you're kind of blinded by the sun as well, and you're just hoping that ball gets in there.
Yep.
Tonight, not so much. The 1-1, that one misses just on the outside, and it's going to put the count at 3-1.
What's great about the weather? Both teams playing it, and I want to see these ground balls. It's been very rainy here today, very saturated into the ground. I was told by both teams shouldn't affect any ground balls.
Here it comes, and that's going to miss on the outside. That'll be ball 4, and Nick Iannantone takes a base.
And that was probably why Brody Black goes for that steal at the end of the first inning. Nick, he kind of got a bad look there in the first couple pitches. Elliott got him on the corners there in that first half at bat in the first inning. I like seeing him come back, get another opportunity. That's what he does in good hitters counts. And I think if you're Elliott, you're lucky in a hitters count. Iannantone couldn't actually do any damage. He'll just take the free pass.
Well, if you're splitting the screens with Canada-Qatar, you're probably more focused on this game now at this stage. Canada just scored to make it 4-0. As that's going to be lined right to the second baseman, over to first, and in time to get the 4-6-3 double play.
Great textbook play there. I love to see not just pace and urgency, but calm, but poise. Don't need to rush the throw, don't need to rush the play. Savage, he's been red hot lately, but he's not the fastest guy. Foot speed to first base, had a little bit extra time, and they made the play.
So here comes Tim Holick. Glad to see him back in this league after spending some time in the Frontier League. And that's going to clunk him. That's a hard shot. Holick's going to have to take a moment here.
And Tim's just returning from a day-to-day injury to get back in this lineup, not to the upper body area, but those ones are going to sting. You make a great point. We were so glad to have him coming back from Ottawa. I talked to him on our weekly show, Brantford Red Sox Report on Rogers TV, just a week and a half ago. And he's a guy, he's doing a lot of training work now. He's a collegiate trainer. He's very well involved with the Red Sox and their new training facility. He's a guy that he came back and he's put his all into this organization. I know he wants to be one of the faces out of the team. And as he's starting to find his offensive footing, I think he's really going to earn that position. Want to make sure he's okay there, though. Looks like he's shaking it off, and he'll take his place on first.
Chris Ortega, the All-Star from last season. Step in, and one swing of the bat could tie this game. We'll see if that ends up coming true. As that's going to miss just on the outside. And Chris Ortega, as mentioned, comes into last season, gets the All-Star nod, gets into the home run derby on top of that, too.
Mm-hmm. Got very bad luck that day at Bernie Arbor with the wind.
Oh, I was there. I saw that.
That was rough.
I mean, really, I think it was lefties that had the benefit of the doubt in that game.
Oh, Tyler Duncan sure made it look like it. That was ridiculous that day. Great player in his own right, but that was Mother Nature. Not a fan of the righties that day.
There's a swing and a miss.
Yeah, Chris, such a thoughtful hitter. He's a guy that really makes all the right adjustments. He's a guy that gets better and better as he sees a pitcher for that second and third time through the lineup. Veteran of the league, great hitter, and he started to really find his form again after he suffered as one of many day-to-day lower leg injuries earlier this year on a fielding play. I like seeing him getting back in form, hitting all the way down in the 7. I think that's a good role for him with how strong the end of this Brantford lineup is.
Elliott gets set to deliver the 2-1. Swing, did he go around? Yes, he did. So that'll be strike 2. Pair of outs. And Evan Elliott looking for the payoff. And again, that pitch count, relatively similar to what we saw in the last inning. Looking to keep that just under a dozen here. 2-2 is going to miss on the outside.
This is a very big pitch here. This is going to be a very big one to watch. You talk about the reason so much so for that quick inning was that really nice double play ball. But that walk there, that was a lot of pitches you threw here to Iannantone. This situation, if Ortega can get out of it, he's probably going to throw a lot at Bateman, another guy with really strong discipline.
Well, full count. The runner's off, and that's going to go down the line. Foul.
Yeah, not much of a lead here for Tim Holick. He's got the glove on, had a pretty good run there to second, but yeah, a lot of the idea here for the Brantford Red Sox lineup is they want to do it with discipline and power hitting, as opposed to last year. They did it with base running. Ren Tachioka led the league in stolen bases. They wanted to be a threat on the base paths. The way how big this lineup is, a little bit less fast foot speed, Brantford's not going to prioritize the stolen bases quite as much.
I'll try again to finish this one off. There's a swing and a miss for strike 3. Second K for Evan Elliott. And to the home half of the second we go. The Kitchener Panthers remain with a 2-0 lead on Brantford. And you see there, Kitchener, the starting pitcher, Evan Elliott, runs into a little bit of trouble, gets a double play, and still gets out of the inning without a blemish on the scoring.
Well, it's a positive feedback loop, right? That great play there on the double play, I talked about it. Not just speed, but poise. They didn't rush the throw. They knew they had time to first. They made the textbook play, and that's a gift to your pitcher, which means the pitcher, he can keep his pitch count low. A guy like Elliott, we know, has the potential to go into the deep innings, and that's going to come around because as we've seen all the way through the Canadian Baseball League this season, everywhere, every team, every park, that transition, the 4th to 5th or 5th to 6th inning, that first reliever to come in, that's where a lot of the offensive real momentum has started to be built this season. I think the deeper Elliott can go into this game, it's going to give back to his defense the same way they gave him one there on the double play.
Well, the deeper the better, because they got 2 more games against some tough competition this weekend, into London tomorrow night, and then hosting Barrie here on Sunday, and then follow that up. Welland is in town on Monday for a rain-out makeup game.
You get them at Jack Couch, but my goodness, that's a tough line. And then the Red Hawk Guelph Royals, later week today. So
that's another rain-out makeup game.
It's going to be a lot of that in the CBL this month, the end of June into July. Remember those 2 straight weekends. We had rainouts all around the league. Compressed season. We've talked about it, my colleague Brian Hawley and I on the Red Sox broadcast. Oh my goodness, it's going to be important for these bullpens to really get their stuff figured out, because bullpen games aren't going to become an opportunity, a necessity, a luxury. They're going to become mandatory with how many games the league's going to be playing.
Well, ideally, you want to see 4-man rotations. With the way the league operates now, you need those 4 guys that can really get 5-6 innings from you, because you really don't want to start, going bullpen days every single week, because that's, just a recipe for disaster. What if you need some of those guys in those first 3 games? As that's going to paint the inside edge for a strike here on Zane Scansey.
So it looks like today, very consistent, nicely called, but thin zone here. That's going to be something to watch for hitters on both sides.
That one sent high and deep. It's got distance, and that one is gone. Zane Scansey with his first career CBL jack, and the Panthers are up 3-0.
He threw the bat, gave a dog a bone. He knew that one was clearing the fence. The second he heard the sound, barreled that one up beautifully, and that's the game you play when you're a guy that likes to pound the zone, you're a guy that likes to throw to contact up high. When you miss your spot, and like I just talked about with a thin zone, your margins aren't too big. Zane Scansey called his bluff there. Nice shot there by number 12.
And really starting to pick things up on the hitting side. Hits in 6 of his previous 7 games, but all of them were 1 for in those 6 games where he did get a hit. So, getting consistency, but at the same time, too, a guy that hasn't been getting on base as much as he would like to, just hitting around 208 to start the year. But I think that's going to be a hit that really boosts his confidence.
If I'm not mistaken, might be his first CBL home run as well.
Yes, indeed it was.
First-year rookie, not a bad shot. Nice no-doubter opposite field over the left field fence.
He doesn't do too badly as a rookie. He was the WCBL Rookie of the Year when he was playing out west. Here's Yosuke Fuji. Speaking of home runs, a guy that really went on a hot streak to start last year, but has really struggled with the long ball this season. Just the 1 home run on his ledger. Irvin with the delivery. That's going to go inside, and appealing over to third base to see if he went around. He did not.
Well, the fastball's not working. He can't find a spot on it up high, so he's going to the off-speed changeup. Now it's up to the Panthers. How can they time that lower off-speed pitch up?
timed that one well. That's going to go deep into right field, into foul ground. Chasing after is Brody Black, but he's not going to get to it.
We always talk, one of our favorite things to consider in Brantford is always changing eye level, is what can you offer, how can you look different, and a big thing to consider as well is the change from starter to reliever in terms of release point, release angle, release height, and pitch mix, right? Give the hitters something different to look at each time through the order. Irvin, to whoever's going to come out of that Brantford bullpen, is going to have that. You just don't want that transition to happen until the 5th or 6th inning.
That one, another one laced into foul ground down the right field line.
Yeah, look how cars on Ottawa Street. Holy cow, some of these foul balls are getting absolutely clobbered again. We talk about the wind. We talk about these later inning games. Something about 7 p.m. start times mean lots of home runs.
The 1-2 foul back.
Hearing plenty of intermittent barks at Bark at the Park today. We almost had a duet there on the national anthem. We had a dog co-singing.
Nothing wrong with that. You can hear some of the dogs here. There's a swing and a miss for strike 3 as Yosuke Fuji goes down. Second strikeout of the ball game for Connor Irvin.
Well, we're going to wrap back around to the top of the lineup here. Zeppieri is going to come back out. And I'd like to reiterate again, whichever team in the Canadian Baseball League gets a bat dog first is going to be playing with house money. How no team in this league has trained a dog to retrieve bats like you see on social media, I'll never understand.
Well, once they start retrieving baseball bats, they're going to want to put them in the lineup.
My dog can barely retrieve his dinner put right in front of him. He's not a candidate for this job.
Well, you got to get the right kibble.
Got to get the darn wet food.
It's always the wet food, as that's going to be going right to the first baseman, Ortega. He gets over to first in time to retire Zeppieri.
It's the little things, but I love there on that put out by Ortega as a guy who he's really had to rotate with a lot of this, defensive change, all these little short-term injuries for Brantford. He's a guy that should be a first baseman. It's what he played in the All-Star game. He's got decent range, like in terms of, that first step, can get around on second well enough, but he's a first baseman by trade, and that's where his confidence is.
So here's Petey Kiefer. He was hit by a pitch his last time up and wore those bruises with a badge of honor. And he ended up coming around to score on that Malik Williams home run. Fouls that one back.
Starting to see enough change here on the velocity, not necessarily just the off-speed pitch, but he's slowing down that fastball. Connor's so consistent at exactly his top-end speed, he can hit it on every pitch. Now that the Panthers' bats are seeing a little bit of different timing on the heater.
That one's going to be fouled back.
As far as I understand it in that Team Canada versus Qatar game, Qatar currently playing with as many defenders as both baseball sides are here.
Yes, indeed. As that one's sent away. 5-0 the score, Canada right now over Qatar. That one into the 75th minute. I mean, when you have 2 red cards, Canada at this stage, you're at home, you're playing with house money. The 1-2, that one misses down and in.
It is a shame to see that the Toronto sports curse carries over to soccer. BC plays something about it. Not just Canada's match today, but teams have been popping off offensively over there.
The 2-2 is going to miss on the outside. You know what? We like offense. As long as it's the team you're cheering for.
Or just in general. I think most sports are better when any lead, no matter how large, feels like it's manageable to come back from.
A full count here. As that one's laced deep into right field, all the way back, and Petey Kiefer has a home run. Panthers take a 4-0 lead as Petey Kiefer hits his 4th of the season.
We'll talk about a get back. 1 inning ago, the hit by pitch does come home to score. He does it himself with the bat there this time. Just such a clean, smooth swing there by Kiefer. And against a pitcher who loves to hit the zone, on a full count, you're seeing something that's going to be hittable. He's going to try to challenge you with the speed. Petey was ready, caught up to that one and sent it out.
Right fielder number 67, Yosvani Penalve.
One thing to learn about the Panthers is you go back to that game on Saturday, they did have a 6-3 lead late in the 7th before Guelph ended up coming back into that one. So it really just kind of tells you you have a lead. Now you can't take your foot off the gas pedal. You got to learn to play with the lead, establish it, and keep it. As that's going to go in on the hands of Yasvani Penalve, who's 0 for 1.
I don't have the exact number on me, but last year, despite the weak record, Brantford was towards the top of the league in 8-run innings throughout the course of the season. When Brantford gets rolling, most of this offensive core sticks around. They really get rolling. If I'm Kitchener, keep your foot to the throttle until the sky is dark, the dogs go home. Don't be afraid to keep the pressure on.
There's a swing and a miss for strike 3 as Connor Irvin gives up 2 bombs here in the second inning. The Kitchener Panthers with a 4-0 lead on home runs from Zane Scansey and Petey Kiefer here on KPTV Live. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back. Evan Elliott back on the hill here. It is 4-0 Panthers. 2 runs in each of the first and second innings of play. 4 hits for the Panthers, leading to those 4 runs. 2 hits for the Brantford Red Sox. As it'll be Lucas Bateman, AJ Carosis, and Jacob Cantor due up for the Red Sox. Bateman, the second baseman, takes a first pitch strike. 14 pitches to get out of the second inning for Evan Elliott. So, you talk about that pitch count and that efficiency. Evan Elliott is doing some yeoman's work to start off this game, as that one's going to hit right at the knees.
Yeah, common knowledge, usually 15 pitches or less. That's the number you want to aim for per inning. Elliott's doing a good job getting through that quickly here. Lucas Bateman, 133 only on this season for the everyday second baseman. Last year, though, full season, he hit up towards 325.
15, I like to stretch it out to say 12. 12 to 15 in that range, but maybe I'm just asking too much. Misses just on the outside. Bateman didn't bite, hitting just 133 on the year.
Yeah, 5-year veteran of Brantford. He's been playing for the Red Sox, red and blue, since he was 19.
This is downstairs yet again. I'm starting to see some more action in the last 3 years in particular. 36 games he played last season, hit 246, had an on base of 329. The 2-2. It's going to stay in play. Fuji can't field it. And Bateman gets on base.
Just a bit of a muff there on the transfer to the right arm to get that ball in play. I talked about a little bit earlier, the differential between Brantford and Kitchener on the stolen bases. One of 2 real threats in this lineup that has a good shot to swipe second is Lucas Bateman. Not a guy you want to allow an error to, as AJ Carosis going to round off the Brantford offense for the day.
The former Panther was part of this Panthers team last season, signed with the Red Sox during the offseason. That'll cross the plate for strike one, just above the knees. And I believe they're actually going to give a single to Bateman. Yeah, they gave him a single.
He's a good runner. Had a good chance to leg it out. Defensive play made or not.
The 0-1. Swing and a miss for strike two on Kurosis.
Obviously, the 5-year Kitchener Panthers veteran, such a new trade over. His league page picture is still in a Panthers hat. He's been great. Great utility infielder for Brantford. He's got really good value as we kind of get our defensive infield figured out. He's got some pop at the bat there as well.
Well, you want to have that depth, right? The 0-2 missing on the outside. Just having options is never a bad thing to have.
5 homers last season there for Mr. Kurosis, 24 RBIs.
The 1-2 is going to go foul.
Still looking for his second hit here on the season. Only 7 plate appearances so far to this point in the year.
Yeah, just his third game of the season. Of course, he is kind of a little bit deeper into the depth chart of the Red Sox infield.
Valuable guy to have. Not a lot of backup defensive shortstops available on this Red Sox roster.
That's going to miss inside for ball 2. Well, you think about signings. How about Christian Kuzemka signed by the Brantford Red Sox yesterday? He was a member of the Barrie Bay Cats a couple of years ago. Hit just 118, but just looking for that additional option. If you're the Red Sox, a utility player.
Lefty bat, that's always important.
Yeah.
Yeah, something for a little bit of variety. Don't believe traveled with the team here today, but curious to see if we see him tomorrow at home versus Welland. Of course, Brantford trying to break, I believe, the longest head-to-head losing slump in the league. But I know they're feeling pretty confident about it into tomorrow.
The 3-2, swing and a miss, strike 3, and that's a third K for Evan Elliott as he retires his former teammate.
Yeah, yes, indeed. The guys that are looking to jump ahead in the count start swinging at everything. They've been pretty well defended there, and of course that double play in the second inning by Kitchener. But these hitters that are willing to be a little bit more patient, making Elliott actually try to hit his spots. He's done a really good job, has Elliott. Those are the counts that he's getting those Ks. He's wrapping them up. He's being a good finisher when it's necessary.
Well, we'll keep you up to date on the other 2 games happening in the CBL tonight. There's a big swing and a miss from Jacob Cantor for strike 1. Chatham-Kent with a 3-2 lead on Welland in the bottom half of the second, and it's still scoreless up north in Barrie as the Maple Leafs are taking on the Barrie Bay Cats.
It's real pressure on Welland right now to keep up with London and Barrie up there up top.
That one's going to miss downstairs. Well, Welland, kind of the London Knights of the CBL. I guess you can say a team that everybody loves to hate if you're the rest of the league. A team that's starting to look like the London Knights of the team of the league that just passed. Not as threatening, I guess you can say, as what we have seen in the last couple of years, where they rattled off 2 championships in 3 seasons.
Well buttoned up though, very deep. They're going to make a lot of pickups mid-season, similar to what they do last year. I think home field advantage is going to be so important in the playoffs, like we saw last season. I think seeding really going to matter there, and I think if you're Welland, I think you just, with this new league era, there's been a lot of chatter about the way things have turned over. This new era, the new professionalization rules, kind of similar to college football with the new NCAA changes. I think a lot of programs want to prove post-change they're still what they were. I think Welland's got a chip on their shoulder, even just down in the 3 seed.
The 2-2. Broken bat. That one's going to go over. Malik fields it to Evan Elliott, and he'll get the out. And Jacob Cantor thought he got in there safely. He's arguing it temporarily, but it looks like he's going to go back.
You don't get big margins, and Jacob Cantor's running Philadelphia, Pennsylvania zone is an absolute burner there to first base, but another nicely made play there by the pitcher to get an all-important out. That is going to advance there, Mr. Bateman off to second base, and he is a threat. If a ball goes in play, Bateman the kind of guy that can easily leg out a single from second.
Well, Brody Black knows how to hit the baseball. He's 1 for 1 with a single. Elliott gets the sign, and that's going to paint the inside of the black on Brody Black.
All my games I've called, I've never made that pun. How have I never put that together?
You're welcome. I'm just a giver, Marshall. That's all I'm doing here. As that's going to miss at the knees.
Whether hockey, baseball, you were a pun visionary, and I always give you credit for that.
Why do you think I've been doing this a long time?
Broadcaster Pun of the Year award, CBL. Let's consider it.
Hey, we still got to get the Broadcaster Olympiad going, as there's a chopper right to Zane Scansey. He will field it over to first in time to record the out. Brody Black goes down on the 4-3, and a runner is stranded. And we head to the home half of the third with the Kitchener Panthers up 4-0 on the Brantford Red Sox. As that pitch count, he needed 20 pitches to get out of it, but if you even it out, 44 pitches through 3 innings, 15, 30, 45. So right around your 15 per inning kind of math that you're working with.
I'll throw it to you then, Mark, because you know this Kitchener Panthers team quite well. I talked a little bit about earlier with Brantford. The younger, more inexperienced pieces in the Brantford pitching rotation of the roster, they come in those middle innings. It's those middle relief spots that I think a lot of guys are really starting to try to put good innings together. We're really strong at closer, actually with a former Panther, that being Jorge De La Cruz. For you, what are the innings here for Kitchener, particularly on the mound, that you really want to see get tightened up and maybe you want to keep an eye on as a fan?
Well, I think the most crucial part has really started off already, has really happened already. The first 3 innings of work where you don't give up a run. You're starting to get into the second time into the order if you're Evan Elliott. This is where you really need to establish yourself, force these guys into 0 for 2s. It all starts with strike 1.
Yep.
And, on our CBL Change-Up podcast this week, I think Braden Farrington said it best. It starts with strike 1. You get up in the counts, you get a little bit more confidence. You don't go too high, you don't go too low. You establish yourself on the mound, you get ahead, and you get your outs that way. Because the second you start going behind in counts, that's when you're starting to force the ball across the plate, and that's when mistakes start to happen here.
The analytics in the MLB, I don't mean to speak for the CBL, but the MLB analytics say about a 250 on-base percentage difference between going up 0-1 or 1-0 as a hitter and down 0-1 as a pitcher. Huge difference, and it's very well put, and something that, again, it's important to be good at the beginning. It's important to be good at the end of the count as well.
As there is strike 1 on Malik Williams, who crushed a ball in the first inning.
I think Connor, he's going to recheck that inside part of the zone here on these righties.
As that's going to get over the head of Bateman and all the way near the fence, a base hit. And Malik Williams is 2 for 2.
Well, I was right about what he was going to try, but so was Malik Williams. Caught up to that one quite well, and something about the velocity. It's usually a live fastball that works its way back towards the arm side on Connor Irvin. The Panthers are seeing right through it. They're not just getting a piece of it. A lot of weak contact usually coming off Connor Irvin's stuff up high in tight part of the zone. The Panthers hitters today are hitting it with the barrel. Really nice job there by Williams.
So bring up Rafi Gross. He walked his last time up. There's a swing and a miss for strike 1. And I think the same can be said, we talk about getting up with strike 1 here in this ballpark. If you're Evan Elliott, that's a big thing here for Connor Irvin as well. The 0-1 is going to miss inside. Well, Rafi made it over to third base back in the first inning before he was stranded there. 385 on base percentage. A guy that'll hit the baseball, he'll get on base quite a bit, as there's a swing and a miss.
Yeah, starting to work that off speed in again. Again, just switching eye levels. It was a lot of stuff, especially a lot of strikeout pitches there up high, in tight. You don't want to get too predictable. You want to keep the Panthers guessing. Now it's going to be tough for Gross to see what he has to sit on.
The 1-2 flying high into left field. It's going to stay in the ballpark and getting underneath it. No, he lost it. Ian Antone loses the baseball, and he is going to get in there for a single as Malik Williams advances to second. I'd imagine that'll be an error charged to Ian Antone as he loses that ball. So I don't know if that's even going to be a single, Marshall.
Yeah, I would probably agree. Ian Antone's got great range. He's a great athlete, and he's seen a bazillion baseballs. He's a long-time left fielder defensively. I think you could see from that very first step, he didn't know where to run. Usually that first twitch instinct is good. I think he lost it the second it hit the cloud line. Didn't really seem like he was ever in play to make that catch.
Well, they're going to actually give Gross the single.
It's very shallow, tough to get there with the range. I think if the shortstop makes the misplay, you can argue more of an error there, but great range to even make that an almost playable ball.
So Malik on second, Gross on first, and here's Josh Williams, the lefty. That's going to miss upstairs. So the Panthers just continuing on with the hits. They got 6 hits now. And 4 runs to show for it, and looking for more. That's going to miss just under the knees.
Unbelievable discipline here all the way, especially through the middle here of this Panthers order so far. I talked about how important it is to learn the zone early. I think Connor knows it's thin. The Panthers seem to know even better.
Check over at second, the 3-0. That one's laced and off the glove. Josh getting over to first. He won't get there in time, but that'll advance the runners. And, that's an error by Josh Williams as he thinks that one is an automatic. It gets out of the glove, and he just stutters out of the box. And it's that extra second that makes the difference between being out and being safe at first and putting the bases loaded.
Yeah, Chris Ortega there on first base. I don't think he quite got it trapped. I think it just did the good old-fashioned ramp roll up his palm, out the glove, out top. Not a mistake he's opting to make. Usually does a good job catching up there to the liners. The Panthers will take advantage, though. Probably the biggest spot of the day here for Irvin if he wants to stay in this ball game early.
That is a rare miscue by Josh Williams, and I know he's going to be thinking about that one as that one is laced into left field. Base hit. 1 run's going to come in to score. Circling around into home is Rafi Gross, and that's a 2-run single from Junior Ibarra to make it 6-0.
Great to see Junior getting back there in form. Awesome piece of hitting. That ball was just lasered over the head of the shortstop. They're hitting it at the perfect angle. Not only have they caught up, but they seem to be able to time it up exactly to hit the launch angle they want. They're going to generate either well-hit liners over the fence like we saw from Kiefer, or they're going to put stuff in the gap. Those are the balls that are well hit. Much better chance on a hard-hit liner than a high-hit fly ball.
So here is Zane Scansey. Got a home run on his ledger here today, his first career CBL home run. And Junior stands over at first. And Zane looking to keep that mojo going. He fouls that one back. 1 ball, 1 strike.
For my money, there's nothing more valuable in the league than a fast, productive, effective infielder at a valuable position that can also hit the power swing. They're the best hitters in the league. The Jonah Wisners come to mind of the world. Scansey, really like what I saw. He had a couple close ones last time I called the game here against Chatham. He's a guy, if that power swing's a consistent part of his repertoire, he's going to be a very valuable player for the Panthers.
Just a quick World Cup update. Is now 6-0 in injury time for Canada. 2 balls, 1 strike here on Scansey. Did he hold off the peel over to first? He says he did not go around.
You said there were some red cards in that Qatar game. Was it both goalies? Because, oh my goodness, this is getting out of hand there in BC.
Well, Jonathan David has 3 goals in that game. 2 in the first half, and he just put 1 in injury time here in the second. The 3-1 is going to go across for a strike.
That's probably the farthest on that side of the plate towards the first base side that Irvin's got a strike here today. So I know that's going to click an exclamation point in his head. Can I get that spot here again? Don't be surprised maybe to see off-speed stuff off the far side here.
Irvin gets the sign. That one's going to miss outside, and Zane Scansey works his way into a walk.
So here's Fuji again for his second time there today. Had a bit of a misplay there. Again, it did get chalked up as a single on defense. had one of 3 Ks on the day so far for the Panthers in the 9-hole. But talk about, again, another guy with that really good defensive value. He's worth his weight in gold, whether he's hitting or not. And as we've seen in the past, he does have the upside. Once he gets back in form, he can get on base quite effectively.
Well, first mound visit here for the Brantford Red Sox. Just trying to calm things down here for Connor Irvin, who's been roughed up so far in this game. Already up to 60 pitches.
Well, the gentleman there consulting him at the pitcher's mound is Greg Rapp, not only the Brantford Red Sox pitching coach, also a member of the full-time pitching staff. He does both. He's got bark and bite, you could say, on Bark at the Park Night. He knows what he's talking about.
You say I'm good with the puns.
I've learned for the best. I watch a lot of tape. I do what I can, but yeah, he's got a great mind for the pitching staff, and I know he's really earned the respect here at this organization. Connor Irvin, a guy I'm sure in that conversation, not too eager to get out of this ball game, but both realists. They know how big this win is here.
Yosuke Fuji struck out to end the second, or as part of the second inning. It was the first out of the second. Looking to keep things rolling here for the Panthers, as that's going to miss upstairs. Andrew Savage. Yeah. What a grab from Andrew Savage, or else that one is going to advance the runners.
Great snag there from him. He's not always an aggressive defensive catcher. He's not going to try as many back picks as Cassidy Watt will when he's the backstop here for Brantford, but Savage can keep a ball in front of him up there with the best of them.
That one's going to be fouled back. Well, now with a 6-0 lead, if you're Kitchener, a team that's among the best when it comes to stealing bases. You alluded to it before, just a huge difference between the amount of bags that Kitchener has stolen compared to what Brantford has stolen this year. 6-0 lead. I don't think you just try to get the stolen bags. You've been relying quite a bit on the batters here thus far to get you around. You haven't needed to.
Now, what's the harm, though, right? Like, it's not just on the stolen base on the offensive side as a base runner. This team has had a little bit of struggle, particularly the pitchers. They haven't quite taken base runners as seriously as he could. If I'm Kitchener, no, make Brantford prove they can deal with you on the base paths.
That one's going to miss on the outside, and that'll load the bases here for the top of the order. Already into the third round around the order here for the Kitchener Panthers here in this third inning. This is Matteo Zeppieri, who's 0 for 2.
One of only 2 hitters today so far for Kitchener that hasn't appeared on base. He is you talk about that prototypical guy that once he's on base, you don't get rid of him like rats in your kitchen. He's one of those guys that I always look for prospective guys after how close Ren in Brantford, Tachioka came to breaking the steals record last season. Zeppieri could be on that track in the future as well.
That one's going to be fouled back. You get rid of your rats in the kitchen?
No, that's what I'm saying. You don't. You don't. I said pantry moths 2 weeks ago. I had somebody reach out and go, what's a pantry moth? If you don't know, you're doing well. You're doing well.
That's that's good. Swing and a miss by Zeppieri. "67 pitches. Going for pitch number 68. That one is going to be set down the line. Black going for a chase, and he makes the catch. Brody Black goes a whole long way to make that grab in foul ground right in the Red Sox bullpen.
People will disagree. Some will say, just let that one come down, right? You prevent the runs. It's going to go foul anyway. If I'm honest, I think at this point, in specific for their pitcher, who I know they want to reuse Connor, I believe, later next week because we have so many games coming up there in Brantford. I think he's a guy they want to bring back. I think they think the out is more valuable than letting the run come home, but everybody's different. Some would say just let that ball drop.
Well, here's Petey Kiefer. 1 for 1. The runners are going to go, and he is out by a long way as they try the double steal. The runner at home will not be counted as Yosuke Fuji goes down. It is 7-0 Kitchener.
In the bottom of the third inning, the Panthers score 3 runs on 3 hits.
And we are headed to break. Panthers 7, Brantford no score.
Everyone dreams of being great. Only a select few can be iconic, but only one is chosen. Introducing the chosen one from Rawlings. The all-new one-piece composite iteration of the top-rated and established Icon BB Core bat.
Welcome back inside Jack Couch Park in Kitchener. Well, if you can't be at the ballpark to pick up some swag, remember you can get your gear online. We have Keg Tappers gear with your name on it. Just scan the QR code and shop right now. And also in the shop, you can get some of those baby blue jerseys. They look very slick, the Panthers are wearing tonight. As that one's laced down the line, that is a foul ball from Walker Hultgren.
Might be my favorite in the league. I do love the coloring. I love the baby blue, like the powder blue color on any jersey. I love it for the Jays. I think it should have long been the permanent branding color, but these Panthers jerseys do pop off the yellow lettering. It's
all kinds of different colors. I mean, you have the hats, the Canada Day hats. By the way, Canada Day only a couple of weeks away. Guelph will be in town for that one.
I got my awesome Country Day hat. I got the cowboy hat still there from my last game.
You got quite the collection going, sir. 0-1, fly ball. It's going deep. Gross camping underneath it just in front of the warning track, and he'll make the catch.
So the wind has started to die down here. The weather has gotten more predictable. There was a special weather statement before first pitch earlier today. Winds up to 90 kilometers an hour. Looks like it's calmed down there. Raffy Gross, you can see from the first step, he had that ball tracked to its placement pretty well. I think it's going to get easier for the outfielders to start predicting these fly balls.
Well, that wind's still blowing out, so
right as I say it, it starts out.
As long as that wind is blowing out, it's going to be quite the task for the pitchers to try to keep this ball inside the ballpark. As here's Nick Ian and Tone.
East Tennessee State's own OPS to almost 1,200 in 100 career games. His NCAA career.
Chopper right to Scansey. Fields it over to first in time. And a couple of quick outs here for Evan Elliott.
Well, he now faces one of the best in the league in designated batting average for Andrew Savage. He's a guy, he really, by the product of small sample size, again, he was just pinch hitting to start the season, has only recently started appearing as a starter. He really doesn't have many true at-bat slumps to this point in the season, if you can even call it that.
Well, he's been a consistent hitter in this league since appearing last year, and really came out on fire when he joined the Brantford Red Sox last season.
Yeah, he did. Opening game, the same as Jacob Cantor. Both their debuts, both at home, both 3 RBIs in both their first appearances. He's a quiet guy, very well studied, real mind for the game.
Swing and a miss for strike one. Just 23 years of age, native of Woodstock, just down the highway.
Same situation with Brantford that Toronto and the Blue Jays ran into last season when both two of your best hitting players are catchers that are both good on defense. Hard to make a lineup guard.
0-1, that one's going to go across for a strike. And, I mean, that's that balance, right? You want to have that extra bat in as the DH, but, your other positions need some days off too.
Yeah, a lot of guys have versatility on the Brantford defense, but guys like Francisco Martinez, big signing, great power potential. He's got nowhere to play. Too many outfielders and no room at the designated hitter spot.
Set up outside is Ibarra, as that's going to go in on the hands. Into foul ground, tracking it down is Malik Williams, and he will make the catch. A quick 1-2-3 as we head to the home half of the fourth inning. Panthers up by a touchdown and an extra point. And right there, another quick inning. 53 pitches in for Evan Elliott. And you talk about Evan Elliott, and you talk about that consistency, and you talk about trying to get guys some of these elongated outings. If you're Evan Elliott, the longest you've gone is 6 innings. That came back in Chatham-Kent on May 29th. At this pace, you'd like to see him hit a season high.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I think it's one of those things that these records mean a little bit more in the middle of a rough run of form, you could say, right? Trying to break that 6-game slump here for Kitchener. They're well on their way towards doing so. It's one of those things. I'd love to see individual players hitting milestones, getting in form, not letting themselves go down with the ship, as you could say. When your team's in a rough run of form, you need bright spots. You need stuff to look forward to. When you say, as a unit, when we're back, when we're clicking, when we're in form, you want to you still be using these games effectively. You still want to be using the time to get yourself in form, push yourself as an individual, especially as a pitcher. And if you can start rattling off these same performances he's had, of course, the 12 hits allowed versus Toronto, a little bit rougher, but only 5 there against Hamilton. The splits, a couple balls did just happen to be pretty hard hit in that contest. But if you're putting up good starts that are just happening to go for lost decisions because the offense isn't quite keeping up, that's something you can project that, hey, when we're winning, when we're getting runs for the Kitchener Panthers, and this guy is pitching the way he can get back into form, you have something to be optimistic about, right? Just because your team's in a slump doesn't mean you can't play your best.
Well, speaking of pitchers, a pitching change made here for the Brantford Red Sox. Out comes Connor Irvin. In comes Anthony Porcelato.
Anthony Porcelato, of course, former Welland Jackfish defending champion a season ago alongside Mateo. Coquitlam, BC's own, a couple from that particular smaller town there in British Columbia. Good pitcher. He's got great pitch variety. For a guy that's a true middle reliever, wants to pitch about 1 or 2 innings, his mix is quite vast. His stuff, he's got one of the best curveballs I've seen here in the CBL. Another guy, though, he needs to understand his zone early. He at the start of the season was missing quite wildly. I think, if anything, the tighter zone will actually keep him in between the lines a little bit more. He'll know he doesn't quite have, that slider that he can break really hard off to the far side. I think it'll keep him more within the lines. But yeah, again, former champion. He's been around some successful organizations. You just want to see him keep the ball in play, keep it over the heart of the plate, and see if he can challenge these hitters.
Well, he's going to be in tough against the heart of the order to start off this 4th inning with Petey Kiefer. That one misses on the outside. Kiefer was up to bat in the last inning before the double steal did not go to fruition for the Kitchener Panthers.
He's already been hit by a ball and slid into, then hit a home run. It's been a busy couple innings.
Porcelato gets the sign. Here it comes. That one just misses on the outside. And, again, that ball placement, just trying to look for the corners, looking for that outside. Nothing really over the plate. At least when you're having success, that's exactly where you want to be. And there you see it, Marshall.
There it is. It's a great curve. It's a late pin pull. It drops right when the hitter's starting to make that swing decision. The important thing from there, he misses that one low. He wants to hit it on just that bottom side of the zone where hitters are not going to swing.
That'll go across for a strike. Just above the knees there. Good pitch there from Porch.
For a team like Brantford, for what the bullpen's starting to turn into, you just want to see a ceiling. Porcelato has one.
That's going to miss on the outside, and Petey Kiefer will take a 5-pitch walk to lead off the 4th.
So first here for Porcelato, that's going to be the 3rd of 3 successful productive at-bats today for Kiefer. That's his 4th walk overall. I believe that's going to take us up to 4 for the side of Brantford. Only 1 walk administered in the very efficient game Evan Elliott's pitched on the other side.
And you take a look at the final line tonight for Connor Irvin. We'll get to that in just a moment as Yusvani Penalve is 0 for 2. As that's going to miss on the outside. Final line on Connor Irvin. 3 innings pitched, 7 runs on 7 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. Not a performance that Connor Irvin's going to look back on fondly.
Nope, but they hit the eject button early. They give him a shot to play next Tuesday.
That's going to paint the inside edge.
There's that off speed again. One thing I like to see is there's a lot of wild, unique arms in this Brantford bullpen that are going to provide very different looks with arm angle and release point than you see from the starters. Porcelado is one of them.
Oh, he thought about throwing over to first, but already back over there was Kiefer.
And that's great to see. Again, we talk about the stolen base differential. Brantford just needs to keep guys honest there on first base. Good example of good fundamentals to do so.
Swing and a miss for strike 2. And Penalve is going to call for time. A quick update. Barrie now up 4-0 on Toronto in the top half of the third. 3 RBIs for Kenny Joe. All with one swing of the bat, a 3-run shot for Ejo in the second inning, putting the Baycats up big against the Maple Leafs.
The way the season started to play out with the records early, I think every team has an nemesis they want to see start losing games. I think for Kitchener, it's going to be Guelph. The way that Guelph's gotten informed, the way those two are going to battle for a playoff spot. Brantford, you want to see Toronto lose that ball game.
The 1-2 is going to miss upstairs. Well, the other game happening, Chatham-Kent was up 3-0. It is now 4-3 Welland in the top half of the fourth, as Welland has now scored 4 unanswered.
Yeah, Chatham-Kent just sits on late runs, though. That's a team you got to put the Barnstormers away properly if you're going to take them out of commission. Their offense can pop up whenever.
The 2-2 down the line, foul. Well, in that game, by the way, Grayson Barrett hitting a home run against his former team as part of that 3 spot in the first inning for Chatham-Kent.
He's going to be an MVP contender for sure, and a guy that, coming from Welland, guy that wanted to raise the stock of a different organization around the CBL. He has been unbelievable for Chatham. I think a team that really needed a face of the offense on that side, especially with Mitsuki Fukuda leaving the team.
The 2-2, and that one is going to, did it hit him? He's shaking his head, yes, but it looks like it did not. The home plate umpire says you got to step right back in there. I think Yasvani Penalve would be good at dodgeball.
I do get that sense. Or with that dance move, being a Michael Jackson impersonator.
Here comes the 3-2. The runner goes, and that's going to be ball 4. And Penalve will get on base for the first time tonight.
Kiefer ran that one out so hard. I think they should give him a steal anyway. He was ready on the hit and run opportunity. That one could have been a single. That might have brought Kiefer all the way around the way he was hustling there.
So here comes Malik Williams. He's 2 for 2.
First baseman number 35, Malik Williams.
Well, if there's any guy in the league, or maybe at least just for this Panthers offense, you don't want to walk 2 batters in front of, it's probably Malik Williams.
He has been red hot. El Fuego is Malik. Porcelado deals, and that one's sent high and deep, and El Fuego has done it again. Malik Williams with a 3-run bomb, putting the Panthers into double figures.
2 homers, 5 RBIs. Have yourself a day. Number 35, Malik Williams. He's gotten the looks he wants. Base runners in front of him, pitchers that are shaky fine in the zone, and he is he's done exactly what's asked of him when you're the big power bat in the 4th spot. These are the at-bats you want to have, but most hitters, they'll do maybe 2 hits of that quality in a week. Malik has 3 of them in 3 appearances.
A single and 2 home runs for Malik Williams, and well, he's an early candidate for player of the game honors for the Kitchener Panthers, as we're going to get another visit from Greg Rapp.
Yeah, they're going to have the chat here as Andrew Savage, of course, comes to join. I was very curious to see, and I am always curious to kind of get inside the mind, get inside the ears of the players in these mound visits, because you know what you were seeing. You understand the zone there after that initial couple of innings there from Irvin. You got to think in that conversation when he comes in the ballgame. He's getting told by Greg Rapp, is Anthony Porcelado. You know the margins are small. Control what you can. Try to mix it up, right? If you can't mix it up in terms of location of pitches, at least mix up the mix, the variety, what you're throwing. I like seeing that off speed. Actually, if anything, they haven't really barreled up that curveball in particular. But you know, Mark, you're playing with fire when you start just pumping low curveballs over the zone. It basically becomes a home run derby with 8 guys happening to be standing in the field at that point.
Well, now with a 10-0 lead, here comes Rafi Gross, and he'll take a first pitch strike. Gross 1 for 1 with a walk.
Back to the curveball. Right down the middle there just to get himself back in the count.
And he's getting a lot of cheers from his teammates popping up from the dugout. As that's sky high. It's going to stay in the infield. Chris Ortega has it, looking for it, and he makes the catch.
Strong glove, but it's another little miscommunication there between who was going to grab that ball. That's another thing. It's the word of the day. If you listen to me on the Red Sox broadcast, you're probably sick of hearing it. But the idea of defensive continuity, of guys knowing their role, having played with each other quite a bit. They know who takes what where. I think Brantford's still in the process of getting that figured out. I want to see, especially when Jacob Cantor comes back as a full-time shortstop, the players on this Red Sox defense really establish what's your zone, what's the order of command, what's the hierarchy. I think they'll get there, but Kitchener has shown today what the value of that is. You know whose responsibility is what. You don't miss the little easy plays.
That'll go across for a strike, as it seems like Porcelato's starting to find the strike zone with some regularity, which is good to see if you're a Brantford Red Sox fan. And that one's going to skip on Savage, and it looks like it hit the home plate umpire, Matt Neely, but it looks like he's all right. No worse for wear.
Yeah, the home plate umpire and crew chief, I think he caught that one just off the bounce in the upper right shoulder. Looks like he's all right. Gives Savage a pat on the back.
Williams 1 for 2. He singled back in the first. Puts that one down the line, foul.
The cloud cover getting darker and darker as we get into the late stages. Of course, the big stadium lighting now on, but yeah, visibility is going to be interesting. Holgren there, even off that first step a few moments ago on that ball. He thought he might be the one in play. Once again, looked like he couldn't quite see it.
The 1-2. That one is laced right into right field. Base hit for Josh. And the inning continues here for the Panthers.
Yeah, 5 for 6 at the plate today with 5 RBIs if you're a hitter named Williams.
That's not bad.
Not bad at all. There's a certain other famous baseball Williams that I'm sure statistically he didn't, but gosh darn it, the stories you hear about Ted Williams, it sounds like he got on base, 5 out of 6 times.
Junior Ibarra now the batter. He's 1 for 2. There's a swing and a miss. Drove in a couple of runs his last time up. And we'll have to see what that does for his confidence moving forward, as you really need that kind of production. You really like to see that kind of production. As that'll miss on the outside. And he's not really a Cal Raleigh type by any means. Like, we're not...
Who is, to be fair. But
You're not expecting Junior to just tear the skin off the baseball every single time he's up at the plate. He's known for his defense. That's going to miss at the knees. But, is known to hit the baseball quite a bit in his career with the Kitchener Panthers. Just trying to find that string of hits that really gets him going here.
Well, you just can't put anything past him he's never seen, right? When you're such a veteran of the league, you've seen every look. You'll learn things. You time it up, I've heard, over the course of a season, more so as a veteran hitter. That one is going to go wild. Savage quick enough to hold them there. But my color commentator, Brian Hawley, former bench coach here in Kitchener, he loves this organization. The 2 guys I always hear about, always, and I maybe once an inning, are Junior Ibarra from his time coaching him. He loved his personality. He loved what he brought to a team. And Andy Leader, who, of course, most notably was there with Guelph. But like both guys, he talks about glowingly, but something about Junior. Just you talk about a true lightning rod, a true glue guy, a true force multiplier of a locker room. Sounds like Junior is that guy.
Yeah, and he's going to get on base here as he takes the 5-pitch walk. Still the 1 out, and runners now on first and second here for Zane Scansey. Portulato comes into this inning after taking over for Connor Irvin and is having some trouble here. 3 walks, a single, and a home run.
I talked about the idea of a high ceiling, of at least being able to project hope. I think for Brantford, you at least love what you're seeing, because this is the first thing we both said when we saw that first curveball. It's a nasty pitch. It's unbelievable off the arm. You want to see the control get there a little bit. There it is again. Beautiful stuff, beautiful mix. That ceiling is there. Just got to raise that floor with his placement there.
And it felt like that early break really pushed Scansey off the plate there a little bit and kind of made him hesitate. The 0-1. Missing just on the outside edge as Portulato was looking for that to clip, but it did not.
I imagine we'll probably see one of the lefties out of the bullpen here after Portulato, and then just because of how many games are coming up for Brantford, I'd imagine they'll try to just keep it to 4 then, put in kind of a late inning guy there in the 7th.
That'll be just under the belt for strike 2.
Yeah, Scansey, another one of these hitters for Kitchener, one of 3 that has yet to be retired today.
Here comes the 1-2. That one's going to hit right at the pitcher, and right into left field it goes to load the bases. A base hit for Zane Scansey, and he is 2 for 2.
Well, nothing in the middle today for Kitchener. It's either a single, they've got 6 of those, or it's a home run. They've got 4 of those. It's very much Kitchener knows what they have. They know their looks. They know their timing. And it's what you talked about. You don't need to really put the pressure on in the base paths when you're so consistently hitting the bat, you're hitting the gaps, you're hitting the shallow part of the outfield. I'm blown away with this consistency for Kitchener. And talk about a get-back game. Talk about water finding its level after a bit of an offensive slump.
Bases loaded here for Yosuke Fuji as he takes a first pitch strike just inside.
You almost wish for Kitchener you could go back in time with the time machine, sprinkle some of these extra runs and a couple other ball games. Might have flipped quite a few results.
That'll miss inside as Portulato was looking for that inside edge yet again. Oh, and you're absolutely right, Marshall. I mean, you think about this 6-game slide. A few of those, were lopsided defeats, as that'll go in for a strike this time. 3 pitches, 3 on the inside edge, and 2 of them he gets the call. But, again, even in those lopsided losses, Kitchener still putting some runs on the board.
Yeah, for sure. They're a team that never takes their foot off the gas pedal. All the best teams in the league shouldn't. There's never a reason to waste plate appearances when you're losing, ever. I don't care who it is. There's no rule at all that says you ever shouldn't play your best. Good hitters should be goldfish and just forget what the score is, forget what the count is. But, this is finally what you knew was in the tank. We're seeing it all put out there on the field today.
And this is upstairs. And this is the first meeting between these two teams. And, based on history, Kitchener has had Brantford's number over the last few seasons. But, this is a different Brantford team. And Kitchener knows they had to take it to them early here, and they really have done that. The 3-2. That'll go foul.
Well, styles pick fights is always the old saying, and I know for Brantford, there are certain matchups, namely the Hamilton Cardinals. This team really likes. This team is not afraid when they play Hamilton, whether in their building or at Bernie Arbor. But you're right, there are teams for Brantford that just certain matchups, Kitchener, Welland, London, the big 3, you really want to get worked out for the future.
Did he go around? No, he did not. And that is going to be a bases-loaded walk, and the Brantford Red Sox cannot believe it.
Very, very close.
Make that 11-0 Kitchener with the bases loaded and the 9th batter of the inning, Matteo Zeppieri.
Left fielder number 1, Matteo Zeppieri.
Well, the score to beat this year, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was Hamilton at home against Toronto. I believe
yes.
23-1, the high watermark on the year.
Yeah, 23 runs in that game.
If you're Kitchener, coming off a slump, why not? You're trying to chase the record.
That one handcuffs Savage for just a moment, but he keeps it in front of him to keep the runners true. Ibarra on third, Scansey on second, Fuji on first. And that's going to go off of Savage toward the backstop. Everybody advances to make it an even dozen on the board for Kitchener.
Well, it's not too often in baseball, CBL, MLB, any level, that you see a hitter come up 4 times in 4 innings. This is Matteo Zeppieri's 4th appearance already. It's almost an interesting consideration here for Kitchener, because if you get up big, what do? Do you start bringing pinch hitters in? Do you start giving guys looks? Or, again, because you're coming off a bit of an offensive slump for a lot of the starters, do you say, no, stay in this form, keep getting reps, keep getting more practice, no reason to start putting backups in?
Allen misses inside, puts the count at 3-1 here for Zeppieri. Well, and I think if you're Kitchener, again, London tomorrow, Barrie on Sunday, Welland on Monday. You really have to keep your foot on the gas pedal. That's so you're not having these, these breakdowns, if you will. You want to make sure you're still establishing your offense, because you start slowing down, they're not going to give you any mercy.
You're not, and this is invaluable. And it's often spoken about in soccer. Funny enough, speaking of the World Cup going on, it's one thing to project to know you have good power, you have good mechanics, you have good launch angle. You can do all the analytical things right, but until you see hits, you see the baseball leave the park. Maybe if you're a good runner, you see a triple. You need to do it to really build that true confidence you have in your repertoire, the same way that a soccer player, a lot of the top, offensive players in the World Cup are projected. They're going to do great, but until you score that first goal, I don't think your own personal confidence knows it's there. If I'm Kitchener, every guy in this lineup should try to have that moment today of like, I'm back. I know I can do it in big moments and at home.
There's Petey Kiefer, takes one up and in, but it stays in the black for a strike as it just clips the top corner. Kiefer 1 for 1. He's been hit by a pitch, and he has walked, and he has been hit by a pitch yet again. Make it 13-0 Kitchener as they continue on in this inning. Still 1 out.
Yep, that'll make it 10 free passes on the day between walks and hit by pitches, administered to the Kitchener Panthers. And when a team's hitting as hot as this home side is, you can't give them any free bases. You certainly can't give them 10.
6 runs in this inning, and Yasvani Penalve will come up here. He is 0 for 2. He walked earlier on in this inning. And if you are Anthony Porcelato, you really got to get an out here, because look who's on deck.
Well, it's up to the Kitchener offense. They're putting nothing in play that can get fielded as a ground ball, certainly not a double play. They've just done an unbelievable job again with the launch angle, with the timing, finding the gaps, because the Brantford defense haven't really made any mistakes today. They're just not getting opportunities.
The 0-1, swing, and he gets a piece of it. Puts the count at 0-2.
If Malik Williams comes up again in the inning, looking at bases loaded in front of him, it's going to be a long night for Brantford.
Kitchener has scored in each inning of this game. Looking to add to their total here. That's going to miss way inside, and Penalve gets out of the way.
If you're Porcelato, this is a huge opportunity. You're in a 2-strike count. You have swing and miss stuff. You don't necessarily even need to put it in the zone, but you got to think Kitchener is not going to swing until they feel the need to.
Thinking curveball here?
Very well. Probably curveball close.
Chopper down the line. That's going to skip on Ortega. He's going to get the 1 out just barely. That'll put one more run across. But there's 2 outs, an important out for Anthony Porcelato.
Yeah, good foot speed there by Ortega to get his foot planted on the bag, record that out there. But another one that I think he's still adjusting back to first base. All this defensive rotation, I talked about continuity. He's a guy, because he's played at so many different positions, he's had a little bit of trouble, I think, settling back in. Now he's back at the position that sent him to the All-Star game last year. That's what he wants to see as Williams. It's not bases loaded, but it is 2 in front of him. Keep an eye here on the righty.
Both runners in scoring position. 14-0 the score. That just misses at the knees. And that's what we talked about, that first strike, getting up in the count, strike 1. Not able to get it there, and that's going to give Malik Williams the advantage. He's going to be looking for one here. right across belt level for strike one, evens the count. A 3-run home run earlier on in this inning, Malik Williams. He's got 2 bombs here tonight. And he gets a piece of that one to stay out. Keeps it in the ballpark, though. Make that strike 2. That one's going to get through the hole. A base hit for Malik. That's going to bring in 1. Circling around third is Kiefer. He's going to get in to score easily on a 2-run single from Malik Williams. Malik at 7 RBIs already, and I think that's going to be it for Anthony Porcelato.
Yeah, just heartbreaking for a guy. That early season start, the season opener, he came in to pitch at home for Brantford. Racked up the ERAs because he just didn't stay in the ball game that long. I know he knows he's better. I know his stuff he knows is better than what his ERA would show. Today, unfortunately, not going to help. And it seemed like from the very beginning, his stuff, that the velocity, and to a lesser extent the break on the off speed, just wasn't quite there for him.
Kitchener running away with this one. They are already well down the street. 16-0 as a new pitcher is going to come into the ball game. We'll be back on the other side.
Now pitching for the Red Sox, right-hander number 28, Noah Law.
Welcome back to KPTV Live as Anthony Porcelato comes out of the ball game. Noah Law comes in, the 4-year veteran of this Brantford Red Sox roster.
Yet not a first-time appearance here at this particular ballpark either. Native of Waterloo, Ontario is Noah Law, former Brantford Junior Red Sox, former University of McMaster Marauder. He's up here today making his 4th appearance of the season, and he is not often put in very favorable positions. Has played twice this season against Welland, once against Barrie, 4 total innings, 4 runs allowed.
That one's going to miss upstairs. As again, Noah Law. The ERA quite elevated in his previous 2 seasons. As that's going to miss inside on Rafi Gross.
Talked about projecting his ceiling. He had a really nice appearance out of the bullpen there against Barrie back on June 5th in Brantford. He's a guy, you know he's got good stuff, generally does pretty good at limiting walks, which is what you want after what we saw earlier in the inning.
As another one goes inside. 3-0 count here for Noah Law. As Rafi Gross is 1 for 3, 1 for 2 rather.
Couple pitches on the inside here, almost hit Gross in the hands. He might have a hit by pitch if he was wearing a size bigger glove.
Holds off on the swing, but it goes in there anyway for a strike. Rafi thought that one was off the plate, but he'll have to step back in there. The 3-1 skied high. Shallow right center field. Everybody going afterneath, and it's going to drop. And Rafi Gross gets on base, and this inning will continue.
Gonna say it again, defensive continuity. There was a time for Brantford that Ethan Paulos, old former center fielder, full-time for this team, calls that ball off every day of the week. And it's not in his range, but he's just that guy, that kind of quarterback that has the confidence to take it. A lot of guys with all the swapping around for Brantford, they don't really know who that guy is anymore. Nobody really has the gumption to call guys off that confidently anymore. Sometimes you'll make a mistake, even more often when nobody wants to be the guy to take the responsibility. You're gonna end up with plays like that.
Well, you're going to have to give that one a single because you don't know who you would charge the error to in that instance. So Rafi Gross with a pair of hits, and here's Josh Williams, who also has a pair of singles. $16-0 and counting, as that one's going to get by the catcher Savage, and both runners will advance. Everything going wrong tonight for the Brantford Red Sox.
So both runners will, of course, take the advancement up to second and third base. I don't remember the exact number, but Brantford got to 2 outs here not too long ago. Since then, being on the cusp of success hasn't quite got them across the threshold of victory. They're still in the inning.
That one just paints the outside. Josh takes strike 2. Well, this is the 7th time Brantford has given up double-digit runs, as that's going to go right in on Ortega. Fields it over to first in time, and the Panthers with a massive inning. 16-0 as we head to the 5th here at the couch.
In the bottom of the 4th inning, the Panthers scored 9 runs on 4 hits. There were no errors and 2 runners left on base. It's now time to get out your programs, as it's time to tell you our prize program winners for today.
Get ready, Chatham-Kent. For the first time ever in the new Canadian Baseball League era, the 2026 All-Star Showdown is landing at Fergie Jenkins Field on the July 11th and 12th weekend. The league's top talent all in one place. Watch the full slate of skills competitions, including the popular Home Run Derby on Saturday, and on Sunday, the ultimate 2026 CBL All-Star Game featuring your favorite players for a mid-season showdown. Chatham-Kent, it's our time. The All-Star Weekend of the new CBL era. It's history in the
Welcome back inside the couch. Into the 5th inning we go. The Kitchener Panthers have a sizable 16-0 lead here on the Brantford Red Sox, and the Red Sox looking to get on the board here. All the way down to the wall it goes. Tim Hollick throwing to second base, and he gets in there safely. As Evan Elliott is still in there. As we take a quick look at the out-of-town scoreboard, and there you see it there, 4-4 in the top of the 5th between Chatham-Kent and Welland, and it's 4-2 Barrie over Toronto in the bottom of the 4th.
So at least a little bit of life here from the Brantford offense. Second hit of the day, first since back in the first inning.
Well, the first extra base hit of the game for either side, as that one's going to go deep into left field, and it is gone. Chris Ortega. I was going to say the double was the first extra base hit. That wasn't a home run for either side. And as I'm speaking, Chris Ortega with an extra base hit of his own, and it circles the bases. The Brantford Red Sox are on the board.
Chris Ortega, he's getting back in form. I talked about earlier, even if a team is struggling, an individual should take that opportunity to get in good form. Coming off his injury early in the season, he was having a tough time readjusting, but he was in the home run derby last season for a reason. When he can crush a baseball, he pulls a ball to left field harder than anybody you've ever seen. Good ballpark there today. That one did just clear the wall, but he didn't get all of it, and it still had that power.
Here is Lucas Bateman. He's 1 for 1. This is only the second time around the order for the Red Sox in this game. Elliott has been efficient. 56 pitches. Here's 57. That's going to go across.
Yeah, Elliott just doing such a good job here, establishing the zone as much as he needs to, but switching it up within it. Nobody can predict really anything there at the plate on the other side. Is that one going to go by the catcher?
Elliott just giving up 2 hits in the first 4 innings. Gives up another 2 here in the 5th. That's going to go downstairs.
Yeah, nobody for Brantford really today in general. Of course, small sample size, not many batters. Nobody's really tried to bite there at the off-speed pitch, but I like that Elliott's keeping it there, keeping the eye level moved around, and he's close enough to the bottom corner. You have to take it seriously.
The 3-1 is going to go up and in, and Lucas Bateman will get on base.
Nice little piece of work there for Lucas. Once again, he's another guy that he's so consistent there. Brantford at Arnold Anderson has an infamously interesting second base divot, the way the infield is built. He's one of those guys, he predicts it quite well on the defensive side, so he's got good value to a position Brantford doesn't have a ton of depth with. So if he has that value on defense and can show any productivity there on offense consistently at the bottom of the lineup, he's going to be valuable, and he's doing a good job of that today.
To the bottom of the order we go for A.J. Carosis. And he lays off for ball 1.
Well, the fastball, the heater's still on a string here for Evan Elliott, but this off speed, he really is trying to establish those low corners, and yeah, the home plate umpire's not giving him anything in that regard quite yet. Gonna miss wide that time off the outside of the plate. You got to think Carosis here he's just going to wait. He's going to wait more than likely, maybe even until he gets in a 2-strike count. You just need guys on base here if you're Brantford.
Carosis puts that one right on over to Kiefer. Fields it for 1. Throw over to first, not in time. And Carosis will get on.
So that'll be his first time on here today. Likely about as quick of a threat on the base path as Bateman would have been there on first. Here's Jacob Cantor, another guy who, again, still dealing with a little bit of discomfort from what I understand on his arm. That is keeping him out of the defensive lineup. Again, he is the flashy defensive shortstop. I talked about a quarterback there on the defensive side. He is that body for the Brantford defense. Today in that DH role, though, it's only a matter of time. He's another guy. Doesn't have too many slumps of 3-hole at-bats.
That's going to miss downstairs, and should mention a defensive substitution. Malik Williams no longer at first base. That is Trent Lawson. The delivery way inside. So it looks like this is the end of the night for Malik Williams. I think if you're the Brantford Red Sox, you'll take that with the way Malik has been mashing the ball in this game.
He gave you a week's worth of RBIs in about 4 innings.
He reached his quota.
He's earned his pay for the day. He's going to head home.
Fly ball. Deep into right field. Penalve gets underneath it. He'll make the catch. Throw back into first, and he doubled him off. Too far away from first base was A.J. Carosis, and Penalve gets it on over, and that'll double him off. We head to the home half of the fifth. And the Kitchener Panthers up 16-2. You like to see that if you're Brantford. You get the runs on the board. Still a huge hole to climb out of here in this game in particular, but you don't like to see the shutout if you're Brantford at the very least. You want to try to get something on the board to have yourself feeling good and showing that you can get to Evan Elliott's.
Yeah, I don't know how good you're going to come out of this game feeling if you're Brantford, no matter what. You don't really care how many you have when the discrepancy is 14. But we talked about the value of what we were saying earlier. No matter the score, as an individual, there's still value to at-bats against a great starter like Elliott. And again, getting practice, you got to think, more than likely if you're Brantford, you'll see slightly more hittable stuff coming over the plate in the 6th, in the 7th, if Elliott stays in the ball game. But what was so crucial about that play there, Mark, is it keeps that pitch count low we were talking about. He was finally starting to get away. We talked about Elliott really starting to lose placement there on the off-speed pitch. That was going to start to rack up the pitch count if that inning had gone on the same way we just saw the bottom of the 4th for Kitchener. To get out of that inning in the hurry that he did, I got to think he's at least going to have a clean, crisp, fresh 6th inning. If he can go to 7th, that's going to be a really important one. Really impactful day for Evan Elliott to get himself in form, even up his win-loss record on the season, and really make him feel like, all right, I can be the guy, I can be the ace of this rotation, and I can be the one to start dragging us out of this losing slump, start putting in some good days. So I think he's in a really good look. I think that's going to help him. And again, the deeper he can go into this game, the more that's going to mean for him. And if he can go to this pretty strong end of the order in terms of late inning relievers like Cologne, I think Kitchener will feel pretty confident they can snap this win up today.
Well, Pete Kiefer is going to go to the bench. As we saw Trent Lawson sub in for Malik Williams, I'd imagine you're going to start seeing some bench players come into this ball game for Kitchener. Junior Ibarra, Zane Scancy, and Yosuke Fuji are due up for Kitchener. Whether all three of them will take hacks, that remains to be seen. So it will be a substitution. Samuele Bruno will come in for the Kitchener Panthers.
Number 13, Samuele Bruno.
And of note, look who's going over to first base to be a first base coach. It's Petey Kiefer. So he is probably going to be coming out of this ball game on defense as well.
He can do it all. Could number 17 again got hit by 2 pitches earlier today. He still made it on base every single time he was up.
So into the 5th inning we are, as it's Samuele Bruno. As that, I would imagine, will just be a straight flip with Junior.
Kiefer's been so good at getting on first base today. He's doing it even once he's out of the ball game. Look at that.
Not,
what a guy.
That's going to skip underneath the strike zone. Zane Scancy is on deck. He's getting warmed up, so it doesn't look like Scancy's going to be coming out. You can't just empty out your entire bench if you're Kitchener, of course, but you know, this is a time to do it. Give guys some extra hacks. And see if they can get that momentum going as that one is laced right on over. Good fielding play by Carosis over to first, and it skips off the glove of Ortega. And I would imagine that'll be an error as Samuele Bruno is going to get in there. They're going to count it as a hit.
That one is tough. It really well run out. I didn't think that play was going to be nearly as close. It was a great snag there by Carosis, right on the edge of his defensive, gloving range there at short. He's looked good. I've liked the first instincts we're seeing there from Carosis today. Don't totally chalk that one up on him, and the throw was a little bit too tight, a little bit too close. That would have been a very long reach to successfully make there for Ortega.
So here is Zane Scancy. Hit a home run back in the 2nd as he takes a first pitch strike. Noah Law still on the hill here for Brantford. And if you're Brantford, you'd like to see Noah Law maybe go a little bit here to try to save some arms going into the weekend.
Yeah, I think he comes out of this ball game when he wants to come out of this ball game. I think they're going to have him go do the Iron Horse or Iron Man workhorse innings here through the middle stage.
It's an 0-2 count here on Scancy. Swing and a miss for strike 3. Strike him out, throw him out perhaps, and he is going to be safe.
Yeah, no tag. He was off the base entirely, was Bateman there. He didn't really have a play, but that was a laser of a throw there from Savage to at least make it close.
It was a laser of a throw, but there was no indication from the umpire whatsoever.
Yeah, I think it was a weird.
Make a sign.
It was a weird sight line. I think it was far off enough. He assumed it was well understood, but the throw was.
And I don't mean to harp, but if he's safe, make the signal and say he's safe. That'll go in for a strike here on Yosuke Fuji. So Scansey retired on strikes. Bruno over at second. Hops off the mound. Grabbed there by Bateman. Over to first. In time, and that will advance the runner. And Matteo Zeppieri will come up.
5 at-bats, 5 innings. Talk about a big sample size. Nice day for Matteo Zeppieri. He started off 0 for 2, had a sac fly back in the third inning, and then a walk. Still no hit yet on the day for Zeppieri. One of few full-time Panthers bats to not do so today.
Well, as mentioned, Petey Kiefer is overworking first base as a coach. On deck, here to replace him is Charlie Towers. The 0-1, that's going to go into the dirt. Good job there by Savage to protect it.
Like what I've been seeing from Law, maybe it's regression to the mean here a little bit. Maybe some of the batted balls that Kitchener was doing just such a good job putting in play, putting through the gaps, are actually starting to go to infielders. But really good job here by Law, being effective, putting stuff on the ground, drawing contact low. He's doing a nice job of that so far.
Allen misses on the outside. Well, we talked about the tough weekend for Kitchener. I mean, you think about Brantford hosting Welland tomorrow, and then on the road for a couple in London on Sunday, in Guelph next Tuesday.
Yeah, 3-game road stand. It's going to be a really important couple home games in a row. Brantford does, similar to the end of last season, they look like a different team. There's a different energy for the offense. They're often starting the best pitchers there in those home contests, so that 3-game home streak at tail end of next week I think will be big for Brantford. But yeah, Brantford and Kitchener kind of playing the same teams the next 4 games, just flip the home and road splits.
Full count here on Matteo. He has reached base. He walked in the 4th inning. And that's strike 3 as it clips the inside edge. Zeppieri gets punched out. And that's a quick inning for Noah Law. 16-2 Panthers as we go to break.
In the bottom of the 5th inning, the Panthers scored no runs on 1 hit. There was 1 error and 1 runner left on base. Let's send it down to Kate.
What I look for in a Rawlings is a combination of things. Something that will kind of maintain for a long period of time. I've had a lot of success with Rawlings over the years.
What I like about my Rawlings glove is the feel. The feel is everything. It's good to get that feel in your hands, and if you have a Rawling, it's more easy to catch. Weight goes a long way, and I feel like Rawlings does a really good job of getting you top of the line leather.
As far as the leather, I usually stick to Pro Preferred.
I've actually always used Pro Preferred. I loved it from the start, so I'm kind of a guy, if I like something, I usually don't change it. So since the first day I signed with Rawlings, I've been using Pro Preferred.
What I like about my Rawlings glove is it's always felt the same. And it never falls apart. It feels good every single day I put it on my hand. And it's a mark of a pro.
Welcome back inside Jack Couch Park. There you see Samuele Bruno, one of a number of defensive substitutions for the Kitchener Panthers, but we'll get to those in just a second. A substitution not made is Evan Elliott, who remains on the mound. And by the way, if you like what you see here with the Kitchener Panthers, don't forget you can follow us on social media. Follow us anytime on social media for the most up-to-date information on the Kitchener Panthers. Hit like, hit subscribe on this very YouTube channel so you are notified of our latest content, including live home games like this one. And it's been a one that has been one-sided for the home side here tonight.
I'd say you should make an Instagram reel of all the hits today, but I think Instagram reels can only be a minute long. So
I believe it's 2:30.
You'd get time to 2:30.
You can go 2:30, but I don't even think that'll contain it.
You'd be on the cusp then.
So Brody Black leading things off here. Noah Boughton is over at third, the newcomer for the Kitchener Panthers. Charlie Towers is working at short. Trent Lawson is over at first base. Scansey, Zepieri, Gross, and Penalve stays in the game as that is a strike on Brody.
So yeah, Boughton, a new addition to this team. You said a good utility defensive guy. How much else do we know about him? Still a new face.
Well, he's a relative newcomer. I mean, again, a utility player that is a dual citizen. So despite the fact that he is from Texas, as that one's popped up, he is a dual citizen, so he doesn't count towards the import cap. Scansey comes over to make the catch, calls off Gross and Penalve.
And that's that play earlier from Brantford. You saw that one just behind second base. That's what you want to see. Scansey all the way, just by the body language. You can tell he was going to make that catch for good or for bad. If an outfielder tries to play it, they're running into each other, but at least there's a guy there. There's a guy taking that agency, going to go make that play. Nice job.
Well, just a little bit more on Noah Boughton. You know, previously played at Dallas Baptist University, Lipscomb in 2024. Spent 2025 with Trevecca Nazarene University in Nashville. He hit .283 in 40 games, including 5 home runs and 23 runs batted in.
Probably hasn't played too many baseball games this cold then if he's from down there in the south.
That one's laced on over. Fielded by Scansey. Over to first in time, and that is the second out. But it's part of that, mid-June where we're starting to see everybody start to acquire some players. Of course, the Panthers also acquired Ernesto Punales last week and made his debut in that Guelph game. Didn't fare too well, but again, just trying to look for that start that he's looking for.
Yeah, I give pitchers a much longer leash.
Yeah,
you come over as an import.
You come in and you get basically thrown right into it in a heated battle with the Guelph Royals. And, that's not going to be any indication of the stuff that he has, because he does have quality stuff. Just had a rough outing against a very top-tier team in Guelph that is really clicking on all cylinders right now.
Yeah, stuff is so hard to project. Back a couple years ago, the stat I always love because he's a pitcher I love to watch, Corbin Burns a couple years ago. He was the worst analytical pitcher in the league by a country mile. He by pretty much every projectable analytic, best pitcher in the NL 2 seasons later. When you know your stuff's there, when you know you have a good pitching staff, you just got to kind of sand off the edges a little bit. But I think for both these teams, for Brantford, for Kitchener, these teams that want to get in that upper echelon at the top of the league, making like low ceiling, high floor signings that are just going to keep your team playable, but aren't going to give you a shot at the big time. What's the point, right? Both teams have room to play, and I like those kind of signings.
Nick Ian and Tone the batter. He fouls that one back. Stays alive. He's facing a 1-2 count. Evan Elliott up to 77 pitches. 1 out away from matching his season high for innings pitched.
It's a count that might put him on the cusp of trying a 7th inning. We'll see what the bench coach does.
There's a swing and a miss for strike 3. Evan Elliott is through 6. Here at the couch. To the home half of the 6th inning we go. And the Panthers are up by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, here at the couch, and it's a big comfy couch for Evan Elliott. That's some sort of channel reference to child's television from the 2000s.
Well, and for Evan Elliott as well, the reason for his longevity here so far, again, he's only at 4 strikeouts right now. He's gotten a lot of contacts from these batters, but it's been a lot of soft contact here so far, and the defense has been there.
Yeah, and that's the reality of. I always talk about never be agnostic to your count as a hitter or as a pitcher. You know, as a pitcher, you pitch to what you have. If you have 2 strikes in an inning or in an at-bat, pardon me, you want to cap it off. You want to put something in play with good stuff that has a chance. If you have a lot of balls, you want to throw something predictable. The same process goes as a pitcher. You have to understand what you have behind you on defense. And we talked about, Connor Irvin coming in today to start for Brantford. He's always been a guy that pounds the strike zone. Same with Colby Klepper, who's pitched quite a few starts for Brantford this year. The reason that's a habit, the reason that's in their game, is because last year, with all these adjustments, all these new signings, all these guys leaving the team, Brantford didn't have that defensive nucleus to lean back on. And as a pitcher, it was their prerogative. You didn't want to just put balls in play willy-nilly because chances are, at a higher rate than a lot of teams in the league, they were going to go by. That's why it's so valuable. I always reiterate, defensive continuity and a trust from your pitcher that the guys behind you are going to put stuff that you earn, what are earned ground ball outs that, again, I know strikeouts are flashy, but again, we talk about pitch count. Getting through the game early, you do that with ground outs. And as a pitcher, you pitch a certain way, you pick your spots, and you change your approach and how you attack hitters if you know your defense is going to do their job behind them. Today, the defense has done an exceptional job here for Kitchener, and I think that's a big part of Evan Elliott's success, but it's a positive feedback loop, right? They play off each other.
Leading things off here in the home half of the 6th is Charlie Towers as he takes over for Petey Kiefer. And I think this is good for this Panthers team where you get a sizable lead early on and you get to go to your bench because you don't want just your starters in this game as that one goes over the head. Speaking of, right into right field it goes. Charlie Towers with a base hit. And you want to make sure that that kind of good vibes and those hits are coming throughout the bench. So you go to the bench and you start emptying it out and get guys hacks in there, because if they start getting some hits as well, that momentum is going to pick up all down the bench and all throughout this roster, and it's only going to be good things for this Kitchener Panthers team.
It's a good point, and lack of depth can often be why kind of losing skids happen, is because you see the same bats. If guys start to slump, if you don't get a lot of variety, if you got a rough 9, that 9's playing every day, that's when you start to get repetitive kind of slower offensive performances. So yeah, I totally agree. Guys like Towers are well understood in this lineup. Trent Lawson, they're guys that are known, they're guys that are respected for what they can bring there on offense. But again, we talked about getting back in form, getting back in rhythm.
There's rhythm. High and deep to right field, all the way back, and that one is gone. Yosvani Penalve goes yard. Add another 2 onto the ledger. The Kitchener Panthers up 18-2.
Well, the score to beat this season in the CBL is 23. Kitchener now 5 away there with a 3rd RBI on the day for Penalve. What a performance by him here today. Another guy that started off 0 for 2 in his first 2, lined out, struck out. Since then, a walk, sac RBI, and that 2-run shot to right field.
5th home run of the night for Kitchener.
First baseman number 4, Trent.
2 of them coming off the bat of Malik Williams. And he is on the bench now as Trent Lawson will come in to pinch hit.
There have been 5 home runs hit this season at Arnold Anderson Stadium in Brantford. We've now had 5 tonight alone for the Kitchener Panthers.
Well, let me tell you, the last 6 games have not gone well for Kitchener in the home run department, especially. You think about the 2 games against Hamilton alone, 12 home runs for the Cardinals in just 2 games. There's a swing and a miss by Trent Lawson. And I think for the Panthers to be able to flip the script and be able to be on the right side of those home runs, has everybody down that lineup feeling really good about themselves. The 0-1 tried that curve, but lost it at the end. It goes inside for a ball.
Have we considered that the dogs are the good luck charm? They're man's best friend.
I think we need
maybe
more bark in the parks.
More bark in the park.
Well, Kitchener's got all the bite as that one goes way up high.
Again, Bat Dog. I'm telling you, they're hard to train. Again, can't use mine, but somebody here has to have a dog we can get full time.
I think so. I think there's a good boy or girl out there that could be a Bat Dog. Chopper down the line. That one's fielded by Holick. Over to first in time. And that'll retire Trent Lawson.
Nice throw there by Holick, making a return there today to third base since he's been working through an injury. And one of those guys, he can rotate anywhere. Looks really good in his spots at first base. He's had some good performances at left field in his collegiate career. He's back to third base today. Made a nice play there.
Rafi Gross will come in. He's got a pair of hits on his ledger today. Again, the Panthers with a 9 spot in the 5th as they sent 14 batters to the plate. There's a swing and a miss. It skips on Savage, but he keeps it in front of him.
You've seen Dog Bat Dog. You've never seen Dog Base Coach. Maybe that's maybe that's an opening. Just good vibes coming off third base or first base.
Misses up and in for a ball. Yeah, maybe you have a dog accompany Petey Kiefer, who's down over at first base right now.
Yeah.
Maybe the dog is the one giving the signals.
Oh, I like that.
Yep.
I like that. A dog can't tip pitches. This is a great idea. Do you have a dog? I feel like
I do not. I did have a dog. Unfortunately, it was my parents' dog, and she passed away a few years back. But more of a cat person, to be honest with you. But I do like dogs.
Yeah, you couldn't do bring your cat to the park day. Not today with all the rain.
That one's fouled back.
You could do a reptile.
Could do a reptile.
This is a real anecdote. One of the first dates I ever went on out with my current girlfriend. She told me I have this really cool lizard. She has a spotted gecko, and I was like, "Why are you telling me this? You're telling me this like it's breaking news." And she said, "Well, they live for 30 years."
Yep.
So geckos are about as much of a commitment as a house mortgage. They're a fun pet.
And, I mean, hamsters on the opposite end, they last as long as a cell phone plan. The 2-2, and that'll go in for strike 3, and Rafi Gross is retired.
Oh, man. Rafi probably heard you. He was distracted like I was. Oh, that's great.
Got to stay on the wheel, Rafi. Got to stay on the wheel. Speaking of staying on the wheel, the Panthers are staying on the wheel as they will send Jamie Cabral to pinch hit for Josh Williams. And very quickly, that's going to generate some attention for the Brantford Red Sox as we have a meeting on the mound.
So this will be, if my math is correct, the 15th different hitter to make an appearance, or at least 15th different body to come in the game. I believe we're still waiting for Bowden to actually hit in this ball game, if I'm not mistaken. But
well, again, Bowden taking over at third base for Yosuke Fuji, so that would be in the 9-hole here. And Cabral, that is speed on the base path. But again, you're not worried about the speed at this point, up 18-2. You're just trying to get Jamie some hacks here. There's a swing and a miss.
Noah Law's really picked up not only the placement on that high heat, but guys just can't time it up. And at this point, if you're Noah Law, you're throwing a lot of stuff in the zone, and you're not throwing a lot of off speed because you want to get through the inning. You just want to put stuff in play. Even though the hitters seem to know that, he's actually gotten in quite a rhythm here.
The 0-1, that one misses upstairs. He's trying to have that one sink on him, but it just missed the strike zone. Again, what a night for the Kitchener Panthers, as that'll go right above the knees for a strike. Losers of 6 straight ball games, 5-9 record. They were at or above 500 before this losing skid began. They're well on their way to snapping it. The 1-2. Flying into right field, and on the run making the catch is Brody Black. And that'll do it. A home run from Yasvani Penalve extends the lead. Kitchener 18, Brantford 2 as we head to the 7th here at the couch.
At the Carpet Store in Kitchener, we've been flooring homes and businesses for over 30 years. Family run, local, and proud. From carpet to hardwood, luxury vinyl, tile, and more, we offer free measures, no commitment quotes, and expert installation. With Canadian-made options and solutions for any budget, our team is with you from start to finish. New builds, renovations, commercial jobs, we handle it all. Visit the Carpet Store Kitchener, where great floor.
Welcome back inside Jack Couch Park. Well, if you enjoy this action, definitely get your way down here to the ballpark. There you see the QR code on the screen. Get your tickets now for some Kitchener Panthers baseball. We have a lot going on in our first pro season. Theme nights, giveaways, much more. You can't let Marshall Crocker take out all of the giveaways like those cowboy hats that we had earlier on this year. We are the hottest ticket in town this summer. Single game tickets, flex packs on sale now. Gavin McLean now the pitcher for the Kitchener Panthers as he takes over from Evan Elliott as Elliott ties his season high. He goes 6 innings and he is in line for the win.
Yeah, what a start there today for Evan Elliott. Just diced it up, went deep in the game. Probably could have pitched his 7th had the lead not gotten so big. Yeah, great start today.
I was going to skip away from Bruno. Again, a whole lot of substitutions in this one. Noah Boughton over at third. Charlie Towers over at short. Trent Lawson taking over at first base. Andrew Savage 0 for 2. There's a swing and a miss. And I think when it comes to the batting for the Kitchener Panthers, equally as important is trying to get guys out of a slump when it comes to pitching. Gavin McLean, this is his 3rd appearance, has only gone a full inning. And his ERA standing at an even 27. So it's a ERA you'd really like to see dip and dip in a hurry.
Yeah, just typical small sample size. It's one of those things. ERA is kind of a loaded stat for good and for bad. It often isn't a great predictor of future pitching, and that's exactly why. One good appearance here today for McLean, and this could be right back underneath 10, maybe even lower.
That one gets by him. The captain of the Laurier Golden Hawks men's baseball team, as Mr. Tukas actually taking over as the head coach of that program. Longtime Golden Hawk player, 5th head coach in Laurier baseball history, Jake Tugas. Native of North Bay, Ontario.
Wonder if he played alongside Lucas Bateman, today's one of today's infielders there for Brantford. He's a former Wilfrid Laurier Golden Hawk, actually won Rookie of the Year for the squad a number of seasons ago. I wonder if they played together.
Yes, he did. Well, Jake was a heck of a ball player. I was actually in North Bay many, many moons ago when he was still pitching as a teenager.
Third baseman number 7, Tim Hollick.
He's part of the North Bay Baseball Association, went to West Ferris Secondary School in the south end of town there, and 33 years of age, and he Tells you where my age is at this point. When I see Jake Tugas coaching a university program, as that's going to miss inside for a ball. Catches up on you, Marshall. I'm warning you.
I don't want to think about it.
The 1-0, that misses upstairs.
I actually see a lot of that generally just in university sports in Canada, that immediate promotion from player, like very successful high-end player. You see it a lot in hockey, right to the coaching staff there the years after. Does a good job kind of keeping the culture internal. Does a good job kind of appropriating what's successful as a player. Carries over to the coaching perspective.
Holick fouls that one back. And Savage over on first. Here comes the 2-1 from McLean. Swing and a miss. Evens the count at 2-2. And we're having some good conversation in here. Again, it's 18-2 Kitchener here in the top half of the 7th. And, in my experience, Marshall, this is kind of the old let's tell stories, and that one's going to go down the line. That's a fair ball. Hold the stories for just a moment. As circling around to second base. Whoa. Thinking about it as Holick and over to first. It goes too high and just barely evading a calamity of issues there for the Brantford Red Sox. Was Tim Holick as he gets back in time, and that's all generated from a quick throw from Matteo Zeppieri.
Great piece of hitting there by Tim Holick. Yeah, awesome throw by Zeppieri back in. Holick now 2 for 3 on the day, and actually 2 for 2, pardon me. Got hit by a pitch in the second. I want to shout out, though, Charlie Towers went up, climbed the ladder for that catch. If that gets by him, that one might go in the bullpen. Immediate couple bases provided. Really nice snag there.
If you subbed in at first base, you wouldn't have to jump.
Yeah, but I also wouldn't be able to run, so it's hit or miss. A triple for me is a close play at first base.
Okay.
That's the reality of.
Well, I mean, you got some height to you, is what I'm saying.
I like to think so.
Yeah.
I'm a good lacrosse goalie. I'm not much anything else.
Oh, what are you, 6'5"?
6'5".
6'5", all right. As tall as the Rock.
I am as tall as the Rock. I think my measurables are about the same as Malik Williams, which seeing him hit that's my.
Yeah, if you combined yourself with Malik Williams, you might have Dwayne Johnson, as that one misses up and in.
He's doing a lot of the heavy lifting there, but you're right.
Well, Malik is a sizable individual himself. He's 6'4".
Yeah, a lot of the best power bats in the league now, a lot of the big power profile, like larger body guys, actually tend to be shorter. You tend to see a lot of that now. I think
he went around, did he? Yes, indeed, he did.
I know that's a big thing in MLB right now. I think with so many pitchers trying to limit the ability for hitters to extend their arms to make good contact with the ball, because that's where a lot of power is seen as deriving from. A lot of hitters, you got to learn how to have a really good swing and really good power upside, even from a kind of a tighter in-on-the-hand swing. Alejandro Kirk famously being a guy that's done a really good job adjusting to that. And again, that's where the smaller frames, shorter arms tend to help you.
Well, Alejandro, great to see him back playing with the big club. Here comes the 1-2. Fouled back by Chris Ortega. The only 2 runs on the board, courtesy of his bat. He had a 2-run home run back in the 5th inning.
Yeah, good to see for him. Good to see him get back in form. He's a guy, he hits a lot of doubles. What last season was a lot of good home runs this year. Whether it's the unfortunate dimensions of Arnold Anderson for the offensive guys or what, a lot of those are turned into doubles. Good to see him clear a fence here once again.
That's a slow dribbler right in front of McLean over to first in time. That'll advance the runners. But Chris Ortega very quick down the line, nearly beat that one out.
Here is the former Laurier Golden Hawk, Mr. Lucas Bateman. Guy has been on base both times today. He's one of these guys that, again, we talk about, especially bottom of the lineup. Just be productive. Just have productive at-bats. Just build to something. And one of these things, not necessarily a hot-hitting day, no actual hits in the ballgame, but, hey, you're coming at it today, and you can't say it was on you, and certainly it's not necessarily a streak starter. It's not necessarily going to get fired up on offense, but it is just going to kind of stay the tide, keep you neutral, and get you ready for tomorrow against Welland.
That'll go in there for a strike. Good first strike pitch from Gavin McLean as he just tests the strike zone there on Bateman. There upstairs, 1-1. Elsewhere in the CBL, it is 7-2 Barrie in the bottom half of the sixth as they lead the Toronto Maple Leafs by that score line. Top 7 meantime in Welland. Chatham Kent 5, Welland 5. As that's been a close battle. The 1-1, that one goes downstairs.
When do you start to panic? Not panic, it's too early to say panic. When do you start to get a little worried if you're Welland? Because if they drop that ball game tonight, 9-7. They didn't have 7 losses till, I think, early August last season.
Well, I think there were some predicting that they would just have single-digit losses at the end of the season. Just goes to show you why you play the games.
That's very true.
As that one misses inside. Everybody having them predicted as the top team in the league, and I mean for good reason. They have been up there and winning the pennant.
A lot of losses,
number
though.
Of years.
A lot of losses in the offseason. They were a team, again, Grayson Barrett's a guy you talk about.
Thomas Green.
Yeah.
No Mateo Portolato. There's a swing and a miss for strike two. But you feel like they were trying to recoup with some of the pieces that they added. Notably, Justin Gideon, who hasn't exactly gotten it going.
No, and they're giving him looks too. Like he's been hitting in the 3, the 4. They're giving him big spots. So he's going to get back in form. Kind of similar to what Brantford did the start of the season. Because like Tim Holick, for example, he was hitting about 11. He was OPSing about 1,100 last year in 11 games. Goes to the Frontier League, comes back, and I think he immediately jumped into that spot because the team trusted his stature so much, even though he was a returning player. I think Gideon kind of got that benefit of the doubt and hasn't quite executed this season with it.
That one misses on the outside. That is going to load the bases here for A.J. Karosis. And wouldn't he love to have a big hit here against his former team, no matter what the score is?
Yeah, 100%. Could see his first, certainly not his first home run in the CBL at 5 last season. Would be his first as a Brantford Red Sox, though. And that first home run with your new squad, even if it's in a familiar ballpark, is a really cool feeling.
Well, A.J. had a strikeout in the 3rd. He reached on a fielder's choice back in the 5th. That one misses down and away. Well, and back on Justin Gideon, he's hitting .258 on the season. I think most had him predicted above 300 at least. Tonight, he's 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts. The 1-0. Down the line, and that's going to be scooped up and mishandled by Lawson. Over to first, not in time. Everybody's safe. And Andrew Savage comes in to score, and that'll be a 3rd run on the board for the Brantford Red Sox.
Got to think probably the error there. It's close, definitely playable. He almost had the throw back in even with the mistake, so likely it wasn't going to be run out for a single there. Regardless, does bring the 3rd run home, though, for Brantford.
And that'll keep the bases loaded here for Jacob Cantor. 4th time around the order, Brantford here in the 7th. That one misses. Cantor 0 for 3, a pair of flyouts to right field, most notably.
Brody Black, who's now on deck. Of course, CBL Player of the Week last week. Very well deserved for how well he was hitting the long ball there on offense. Jacob Cantor, he's going to have his week soon. He is so electric, offense and defense. I love a player that can do it on both sides, and he is a guy that he'll produce a highlight reel on one side, do it back on the other side, and he's just endless stamina as an athlete. A lot of the guys out of the States, just these endless athletic profiles that he never gets tired. You can do a 15-inning ball game, you're getting the same guy at the end as he did at the start.
Just an endless motor. Chopper over to second. Scansey fields it, gets the 1 over to first, not in time. Another run will come to score, and Jacob Cantor will reach on a fielder's choice. Still a big, big hole to climb out of if you're Brantford. And I don't even think they're thinking about that. I think they're thinking about just keeping the momentum rolling going into their next game.
Yeah, no, it's batting practice with extra pizzazz is essentially what you're doing tomorrow to get ready for Welland. Again, that very well-established 30-game slump they're in head-to-head with Welland. Again, you want to snap that tomorrow, and if you're Brantford, you better be ready for a very hard and very passionate Jackfish team tomorrow if they lose to Chatham-Kent.
That'll go in for a strike here on Brody Black. And when you think about Chatham and Welland, this is I believe, their second time meeting. Chatham did beat Welland last week.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not out of the realm of possibility. Oh, and misses downstairs.
Welland's another team like Hamilton. The teams they crush, they just dominate and have for multiple years. The teams that get to them well, they just handle it. That's what's weird about this year's squad.
I feel like that's everybody in the league, though.
It's true.
Just the parity that we're seeing in this league. I mean, when you take a look at the standings, I mean, Brantford and Toronto both with just the 3 wins on the year. Toronto at 3-9, Brantford at 3-8. You know, all it takes is a quick run, as there's a swing and a miss for strike 2 for Brody Black. All it takes is maybe a 3-game winning streak, and that puts you right back into playoff conversations. Because
who's going to drop, though?
That's the thing.
Guelph has been unbelievable lately.
They really have been. Hamilton, I think, is a team that can drop. They are on a losing note. They lost their last game against Brantford. I think if you're the Red Sox, if you want to try to climb up into the playoff positions, getting some key wins over the Cardinals in that season series, I think, will be a very big start.
100%. Very well could be the cutoff team there at the 5.
That one's put into left center. It gets over the head of Towers. Another run will come in to score for Brantford as Brody Black with his second hit of the game.
Well, the next guy up, I don't believe has been held hitless in a game in a Red Sox uniform as of yet since joining the team. Walker Holgren comes back up. Guy I'm a really big fan of, and with how well established this entire offense is and how much Brantford wanted to prioritize power, says a lot. He joined the team day 1. He was hitting in the 3 spot.
3 runs on the board this inning for Brantford as that one's crushed high. It's going to stay in the ballpark. Penalve can't get to it in time. It drops in front of him. 1 run will come in to score, and another RBI single for the Red Sox as they have a 4th run this inning.
Man, that one just dropped like a stone there out of the air. It was well hit, sounded good off the bat. A little low on the launch angle, but it looked like he hit a cross ball, not a baseball there. That one just dropped straight down there. At least going to bring the run home, and you're starting to see a little bit of life here from Brantford. That gap still high, but it's down to 12.
Like a stone. Thanks, Chris Cornell. Nick Iannantone, the batter. This is the 9th batter of the inning for Brantford, as they have really gotten to Gavin McLean here. The delivery, that one misses in, but keeping in front, but throw into second base, and he is safe.
Yeah, got around the tag, couldn't quite glove it cleanly there.
A rare stolen base for the Brantford Red Sox.
Yeah, number 5 on the season there through what will the conclusion of today be 12 games.
So runners on 2nd and 3rd. A 1-1 count here on Iannantone. That one skips in front of Bruno. He keeps it in front of him. Iannantone 0 for 2 with a walk.
I'll leave it to you here, Mark. What's the eject button number? How many runs does Brantford have to get to before you're saying, all right, we like getting through the innings, we like the workhorse appearance here?
Well, there's already somebody warming up in the pen. I think this might be Gavin McLean's last batter. If he gets out of this inning, great. If not, I think you go with somebody else, as that's fielded to Scansey over to first in time, and that'll record the out as Gavin McLean gets out of the inning. But not before Brantford scores 4 on the board. Kitchener still with an 18-6 lead as we are into stretch time here at the couch. And while we're here, let's take a look at the next 5 games for the Kitchener Panthers, because it is going to be a busy one in London tomorrow night at 7:05. And it starts off the busy weekend Barrie on Sunday here at home. Welland Monday here at home. Guelph next Thursday here at home, as that 3-game homestand is going to be a very tough one for the Panthers before going into Hamilton next Friday.
I guess the advantage here, if you're Kitchener, you talk about the head-to-heads. Well, you've had a really good showing today. You've come out of that rough run of form. I guess it's good and it's bad. It's kind of a rip the bandage off situation. We just talked about it. The head-to-head's so important against the teams you think you'll be fighting for seeding with at the end of the year. I think great chance, unless they stay hot, that Guelph is one of those teams that they're fighting with at the 5, which is great for the Royals and Panthers. If you told the Royals and Panthers fans they'd be fighting comfortably for that 5 spot in the order end of last season, they'd be pretty darn excited about that, I would think. And then of course Welland, right? If Welland, how far does the slide go, right? If they keep dropping, that could be a matchup that matters a little bit more. The one I've got circled on that board, though, because I think London, they're going to keep up the run of form. That game's on the road, right into your homestand. The one I got circled there is on the road against Hamilton, that 5th game. I think the whole league against Hamilton, it's going to be interesting, because Hamilton, the Cardinals are going to have big days where, like we saw that offensive explosion, the 23 runs, currently the high mark on the season. That 23-run total can happen against anybody. They do it against some good teams. I think they're a team that is going to take some games off London and Welland. But we've kind of seen Hamilton can kind of drop a game here and there to anybody, namely the Red Sox. So I don't think they're a bad team to take wins off of either, because I could see Hamilton being the kind of team to fight for kind of that borderline playoff spot.
Again, there's so many great teams on paper, but it's why you play the games. That's the old adage, and it stays true. Quick shout out to Ann, who is in the chat. Of course, very well known in Brantford Red Sox land. As we head to the home half here of the 7th inning. It's been a tough one for Red Sox fans to tune into, as Kitchener has put on quite a show. 5 home runs, 9 runs overall in the 4th inning. Now there's a delay here in the game.
Pitcher's got too much clay on his cleats.
There's too much clay on the cleats for Christian Kuzemka, who is in there. So he's just really trying to dig out the...
This is interesting.
I don't know if we can get an extra close-up shot of those cleats. Just trying to get those gaps cleared. It's a tough one.
Looked for a second like a dog stole his cleat. That was my prevailing theory until I saw him get that figured out.
Well, every dog has his day.
Now pitching for the Red Sox, number 45, right-hander Christian Kuzemka.
So Christian Kuzemka, who signed with the team just yesterday, will make his Brantford Red Sox debut. He wasn't on the lineup card.
On the 7th for your Panthers, the catcher, number 13, Samuel Bruno.
But nonetheless, he's an active member of this roster, and he is okay to go. And we'll have to see how he fares in here. Marked off as a utility player, as there is ball 1.
So he is a former Red Sox from a number of seasons ago.
I thought so. They didn't mark him down on the official website here in the CBL.
I was good for a second. I thought it was a different Christian Kuzemka who pitched, and no. And of course, the utility role today. You're just trying to get through innings. Yeah, he was dealt from Barrie over to Brantford there back in I believe 2021.
I have him 2023 playing in Barrie. Played 5 games with the Baycats.
He seemed to go back and forth quite a bit. He's played his time in the.
And unfortunately, we can't exactly go back to some of these previous years if the data isn't showing up on the CBL website, as that one skied high into foul ground. Of course, point streak is a thing of the past, so you can't really go back to that era to look up some stats. You have to rely on the stats that were carried over into this new database. Anytime you try to go to anything point streak related, it just takes you to a completely different link.
Working away on it. We'll get some
info
for you.
Nonetheless, that's my gripe. Unfortunately, don't have all the data available, as that one's going to skip on Andrew Savage. Samuela Bruno in the batter's box here. On a banner night for the Kitchener Panthers, with 18 runs on 15 hits, as that one's going to go foul, and it looks like Savage got a piece of it, or a piece of the bat, hit him in the head, and you see Bruno go to check on him to see if he's all right.
So I'm piecing the info together. I'm going to need some information here about a certain... I'm looking through his Instagram to make sure I've got the right guy here with some of his other stats. One of his photos on Instagram, he's wearing a White Castle baseball jersey, like the burger restaurant. I'd love to know the background behind...
I have a story, as that one is sent.
Is it related to the movie, perchance?
It is not, but I've gone to White Castle.
Really?
It was after a night of having a couple of extra wobbly pops in Nashville. It was about a 20-minute walk from Broadway to go to White Castle, as that one is going to be chopped over. Holick with the fielding, over to first in time. That'll record the out. I can't tell you how long that walk actually felt.
What was the term you used? Wobbly pops?
A wobbly pop or two. On Broadway, as one does in Nashville. And a craving comes up. I don't spend too much time in the States. And White Castle was the first thing on my mind, as that one is going to be sent into foul ground by Zane Scansey. And we thought, you know what? It's not that far of a walk.
Sure.
It's all right.
Never feels that way.
You get to White Castle. It's all right. There is a lineup out the door. And we're talking it's 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the morning. And there was a lineup out the door. And we are in there for an hour, as that one goes down into the dirt. And I'll be honest, not a fan.
Not worth the line at the door?
I walked and I waited. I got 20 sliders, and albeit this is split between...
Sorry, did you say back up?
This is split between 3 different people, so we were splitting on 20 different sliders. You get it in a box.
A strong 6 2/3, sure.
Yeah. And I think we got through a quarter of them. And we said, that's enough.
That's all done?
Yeah.
All done for the day?
Just did not go well.
Well, anyways, they have a great prestigious baseball program, it would seem. Well done, Berger. I'm going to have to ask him about that photo later. But Christian Kazemka, 6'4", 240 pounds, as that one is chopped in play.
Holick fields it over to first, and he gets the outs.
History rhymes like clockwork. Another nice throw there by Tim Holick. But, yeah, Christian Kazemka, the man from Wasco, Illinois, spent some of his time there in the Chicago area playing ball. Looking a little bit at his background, he's spent 1 season at Chicago State University, also at Nova Southeastern. Hit .333 in career conference play. Was on the NSIC All-Tournament team and is also a former Player of the Week.
And now we'll get a debut. Noah Boughton will finally get his chance to pinch hit. Has been in the game for the last couple of innings, but has not gotten a chance to hit until now.
You're talking about new signings. I believe there's a day and a half combined CBL experience in this at-bat. 2 guys that were signed just this week.
Yes, indeed. Well, Boughton comes highly regarded, and we'll see what he can do here. As that one is going to be strike number 2. Quickly, the count 0-2.
Let's follow up. If you're watching on YouTube and you've been to White Castle, let us know. Put it down there in the chat, because now I'm curious. Is it just burgers? Like, what's the?
I mean, I only focused on the burgers, man.
Oh, what he said.
They do have crinkle fries.
Great call there by our director. Yeah, crinkle fries are so good.
Crinkle fries are very underrated. Same trip, Raising Cane's. Better crinkle fries there.
Raising Cane's. That chicken?
Yes. Chicken strips, to be exact.
I haven't spent much time.
You've never seen that on TikTok before?
No.
No, it's the sauce apparently is all the rage.
Huh.
So I had to try it. I didn't mind it. I liked it. I'm not going to say I'm going to go and try to find a tub of it tomorrow.
Sure. It's not a. What was that sauce? What's the Szechuan sauce?
The Szechuan
it's not that.
sauce.
It's not a McDonald's situation. I haven't spent too much time in the States. Haven't really gotten in their cuisine. I did the best eatery trip of my life was to Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay.
Baltimore, Maryland, and the apple of my eye, the highlight of the trip. I believe we went twice, my family and I, on this vacation. We went to P.F. Chang's, the low-end Chinese restaurant chain. And the reason I loved it is because for whatever reason we happened to sit near the bar area. And when I tell you, the bar TVs all the way around this Chinese restaurant were playing Monster Jam Monster Truck Racing.
Okay.
It was the most Americana thing I'd ever seen, and it's a memory that lives in my mind. Eating sweet and sour chicken and watching Monster Truck Racing.
Here comes the 2-2 is another pitch is fouled back by Boughton. By the way, for those that are wondering, so Marshall and I are known in the Ontario Hockey League as well. We do work in the OHL, and we ended up doing a game for the Sudbury Wolves in Oshawa just towards the latter half of the season. So we did a 2-hour drive from here to there. This is basically what the conversation was.
It was indeed. Now I was a little more.
There's a swing and a miss for strike 3, and that'll get him out of the inning. But again, what were you saying?
I was going to say I was a little more silent on the way home because those of you that have ever caught an OHL game at Oshawa will know the famous upper deck media booth catwalk. It's been popularly published. I think TSN did a piece on it. I was shaken up. I'm not a heights guy. My goodness, they just make you walk across some scaffolding above hard ice, and the words were taken out of me on the drive home. I was so terrified after that. I'll go to many a place with you, Mark, to do some road commentary across the OHL. I don't know if I'm going back to Oshawa anytime soon.
Well, I'm glad to have you here, and I'm sure Kitchener is glad to have you here. It seems like you're a good luck charm. 18-6 the score as we head to the 8th.
Please don't let me into my zone. 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 Please don't let me in. Yeah. Can't answer my phone now. Just leave it there, that tone. Ballin' can't beat me up, cause I'm back in my zone now. Cause I'm back in my zone now.
Welcome back inside the couch. We are into the 8th inning as that one is sent foul.
So Cassidy Watt now in the ball game. I was curious if we were going to see him in a pinch hitting appearance. Long time, one of the longer veterans, about a season and a half here in Brantford. He is often the defensive catcher for this team. We talked about how hot Andrew Savage has got, typically the backup. He started being the defensive catcher to give Cassidy some off time. He's going to come in today, and he's often the designated hitter for this team. He's a former interviewee of our weekly show over there in Brantford, Brantford Red Sox Report on Rogers TV. He talked about in the offseason he was really making some adjustments to his swing to really prioritize power because he thought it's what the lineup needed. And if anything, well, actually the power bats are starting to come in droves. He could be a guy, keep an eye. Could hit a homer over the left field fence.
McLean's still in here, and there's a swing and a miss for strike 2.
We just heard tub thumping here at the park, and I'd really like to see Brantford pull a Chumbawamba because they might be down, but they're getting up again, and they're starting to creep their way back into this contest.
There is strike 3, and Cassidy Watt goes down. There's a strikeout for Gavin McLean. Tim Holick now the batter here in the 8th.
Number 7, Tim
It's again the 12-run differential. The Kitchener Panthers just looking to hold on to this lead and get through and into tomorrow night against the London Majors, who are off tonight. And don't look now, but the Welland Jackfish are taking it to Chatham now. 11-5 the score line there in the Rose City. 6 runs in the 7th inning, including a home run from Justin Gideon, who we talked about.
He heard us.
He heard us.
Big result there for Kitchener then. Chatham picking up another loss, potentially.
That one misses way up high. And also in Barrie, 9-2 now, as the Baycats have a 9-2 lead on the Toronto Maple Leafs, bottom of the 7th. Francisco Hernandez with a home run in there for Barrie, who remain at the top of the table here in the CBL. The 2-0 gets a piece of it. Yeah, Barrie 10-3, London at 10-4, Welland at 9-6. So that's your top 3, and those are the next 3 opponents for Kitchener.
So it's a potential loss here for the Barnstormers, and of course the very probable win here for the Panthers would flip them for the 6th seed. Would put them just behind, as of right now, Guelph. Again, the way it's trending very well could be Hamilton soon for that 5-6 spot.
A lot of interchanging as that one is going to hit Tim Holick, and he is going to advance to first base.
I think they had to decide. I think they were trying to tell if it was on the natural go around on his swing, if it got him in the hands. It did kind of hit him right before he went around. So that'll be credit to Tim Holick, man, a guy that, you know, he's really, we talked about it on his episode of the Red Sox Report last week when we spoke to him on our weekly show, a guy that he just tries to have those productive at-bats. He tries to kind of be slump-proof because he goes up, he thinks, okay, what do we need? He really thinks, okay, does the team need pitches off this pitcher? Do they need power? Do they need contact? He can do it all. He's very thoughtful about the way that he approaches it. Tonight, of course, Brantford just needs base runners, right? They just need guys on. They just need hope. Credit to Tim Holick. Has got on base every single appearance today. Hit by pitch, double, single, and then another hit by pitch.
Even when things are going wrong, things are going right for Tim Holick, and that is a big piece of that roster. The on base through the roof. That one misses upstairs and in.
Yeah, he's ridiculous, and he had an absolute bomb to right center in Chatham earlier this season. He's a guy as well. You talk about ceiling. If his power swings that are always strong and have good form get a little bit more oomph behind him, he's a prototypical top-end OPS hitter.
Did he go around? Yes, he did. So we've covered White Castle, we've covered P.F. Chang's, we've covered Raising Cane's. Steak and Shake in the booth here tonight.
Oh,
Chick-fil-A.
Chili's is good.
That one right across at belt level.
Oh, we have a local Chick-fil-A here.
We do have a local Chick-fil-A here in Kitchener. Close by, right on Fairway Road.
Speaking of waffle fries.
Oh,
always good.
Great waffle fries.
I'm a big sweet tea guy. My goodness. Give me some sweet tea.
That one down the line foul. Well, if you want grease, how about Five Guys? Just nearby in Guelph.
I can't.
It's a lot.
Speaking of mortgage from earlier, my goodness, you gotta You got to write off your car. You got to write off your home to go eat at Five Guys. My goodness. Right, it might be expensive, but at least there's peanuts on the floor. What a terrible restaurant.
The 2-2. That one is sent into center field, a base hit. And Chris Ortega with a home run and now a single onto his ledger tonight. And I don't think Five Guys is going to be sponsoring this broadcast.
I was just about to defend it. It sounds like they're quite popular.
Sorry, Shinif.
I speak only for the Toronto location. As a guy growing up at TMU, I just remember as a student, everybody would go for lunch, and I'm like, guys, I got tuition to pay for.
So this will bring up Lucas Bateman. You talk about Tim Holick getting on base every single time. Lucas Bateman has done the exact same thing, a pair of walks and a single. Someone mentioning in the chat, Golden Corral.
Golden Corral. That's a shout.
Right on over. Towers fields it. Gets one over to first and not in time. Legging it out there is Bateman, and he gets on base for the 4th time tonight.
Yeah, another, speaking of, great job there by Bateman as well. Like this bottom half of the order here for Brantford. Just doing a great job. Again, being productive. They know things are getting away from them, especially at the top of the lineup, especially early. But, take the opportunities you're given. A lot of the time, good stats get kind of hidden by days that guys kind of, drop the ball there towards the end. You can make up for that by having really good hitting days when the game's already out of reach, kind of even out your stats.
That one misses up and in here on AJ Carosis. He has reached base twice, but yet to get a hit. Reached on an error the last time up. Swing and a miss. Well, 18-6 is the score here on a Thursday night in Kitchener, and the game that the Panthers absolutely desperately needed. Losing 6 straight games. They were looking for some mojo, and they found a whole lot of mojo here tonight.
Indeed they did. My goodness. And coming in every form. Like, I know everybody's going to talk about the home runs that popped off the screen. Malik Williams, 7 RBIs, and just ridiculous, and only 4 at-bats. But the singles, like being able to put a ball through the gap, just textbook piece of hitting at the right angle, timing stuff up really well, that's a lot more sustainable than home runs that, quite a few no-doubters today. But in general, a lot of home runs that might struggle at a pitcher's park like Brantford. But the singles travel. That travels on the road, and that's another big thing too. You want to see this awesome effort today by the Panthers. You love to see it at home. You want to make sure it can travel. You want to see it again on the road, playing in London.
2-2 count here on AJ. Swings and misses through that one, and that is strike 3. And that is out number 3. I think they were confused on the field. They were wondering if that was the 3rd out, and yes, indeed it is. To the home half of the 8th we go. Kitchener up big. And I think if you're Kitchener, just want to finish this off.
You do. That's a bit of a sign that these guys know this one's already wrapped up, and they're getting through it. I want to give a shout out to all the Loyal fans still here at Jack Couch Park. I'm keeping an eye there on the furry friends, all the dogs. There are worse sporting events to have your dog still at 10 o'clock at night than a baseball game. You got plenty of grass, you got plenty of accessibility. You can go get some snacks at concessions, and I always love bark at the park nights. Baseball's just a sport that needs dogs, needs animals, needs the community.
Well, Christian Kuzemka still on the mound here for Brantford. Yes, some of the dogs in front of us are starting to get a little restless. I think it's actually so Ian Jodry, who's usually our color commentator, is filling in as the public address announcer tonight. I think that's his dog. As there you see the score line. Just take us through that, Marshall, the game story. It has been all Kitchener.
It has indeed. It started early on. It was just a couple consistent innings there off Connor Irvin, who he was putting a lot up high. He was getting to a lot of 3-2 counts, and Kitchener would do a great job when they knew what was coming. They knew it was high in the count. They just had to execute. They got a couple early hits there. Again, mostly singles, but those home runs at the start did start to really get that score racked up. First, it was Trent Lawson. Pardon me, not Trent Lawson. First, it was Blake Williams. Then it was P.D. Kiefer. Zane Scansey getting one as well there in the second. So a lot of little solo homers to open up. It was close in the third. That's where Connor Irvin's totals really started to get high. He hit, like you said, hit 70 pitches in only the third inning. That's when he came out of the ball game. Already at a good spot for Kitchener, 7-0. Once Anthony Portulato came in the game, struggled to find the zone a little bit, blew it out of proportion, and just like that, Kitchener found 18 runs. Brantford's been creeping their way back, 2 runs in one inning, 4 in another. But generally speaking, the Panthers in control with one more offensive inning to go here, up 18-6.
And Christian Kuzemka still trying to get something out of his cleats here. Actually, that's not. Yeah, it is Kuzemka.
This is such a weird situation because is it something he's picking up on the walk over? Because he had the half inning. I would have thought if it was a equipment problem, he would have addressed it.
And I want to mention too, and I mean, this is nothing against the grounds crew here in Kitchener. You know, they do a phenomenal job. It did rain earlier on today, so it is a little bit more tacky, I would imagine, there on the mound tonight.
So I did check. So the mound's interesting. They obviously had it covered. You always try to cover it. Elevated surface, easier to keep water off it. Not a lot of water had saturated into the clay. I just went over to check by the dugouts. It is a much darker color. You might even be able to see it on your screen how much darker the center part of the mound is.
That one misses in. Matteo Zeppieri, the top of the order here for the Panthers. It'll be Zeppieri, Towers, and Pinalde due up, as that one is going to be sent out of play. Well, only one inning to go. As that one goes down the line, foul. Fourth pitcher into the game here for the Brantford Red Sox. Connor Irvin started the game. Goes 3 innings. Portulato comes in. Noah Law comes in. And now, of course, we have Christian Kuzemka just trying to finish things off. And again, with both of these two teams, I think really the message is get out of Dodge.
Yeah.
Just because of the busy and tough weekends both teams have.
Yeah, I guarantee Brantford's going to give it their best shot tomorrow against Welland. They're probably going to save some of the top bullpen arms. I'm sure Halden Craig will probably pitch in that game. He was lights out the other day. Home game he pitched out middle relief. We thought he was going to come in for 1 inning, 2, maybe set up for former Panther Jorge De La Cruz. No, pitched 5 innings out of the bullpen en route to that big home win over Hamilton. But, yeah, a lot of the best arms still left in the tank there for Brantford for the rest of the weekend. And if you can come out of today, really good job again. It's not always...
That one's high, and it's going to stay in the ballpark right in front of Holtgren. And a base hit for Mateo.
That was a good morning liner right past the head of Kuzemka there. Glad he was able to avoid that one. So, yeah, back on base for his 6th plate appearance of the day. Mr. Zeppieri, as Charlie Towers going to come up. Second time here today.
And this will be the 6th plate appearance for P.D. Kiefer or Charlie Towers in this 2-hole. They've gotten on base every single time. They have scored every single time.
That's just ridiculous production. Like, that's where these runs are coming from. The whole lineup's been strong. But the hits, the actual scoring plays, are all being generated by the top of the order, down to the 4th spot where you got Malik Williams.
Charlie singled and scored back in the 6th. And this is the production you want to see from Kitchener going into London. London winners of 2 straight games. They are 5-1 at Labatt Park. That one misses inside.
Yeah, London's always got good home
good home splits dating back a couple years. That one struck well.
Big time. Back it goes, and right in front of Brody Black, another base hit for Kitchener. Of course, it'll be the 4th meeting of the season already between London and Kitchener coming up tomorrow night. Meantime, this is the first meeting of the season between Kitchener and Brantford.
Yes, indeed. I think with a reschedule, depending when the game is going to be played, Brantford's reschedule against Toronto, Brantford might not play Toronto till July, and then I think 5 games in the month of August. 2 in Brantford, 3 in Toronto. It's just unreal the way the schedule's spaced out for some teams. Again, trying to draw the home and homes, which I think are fun. I think those home and home rivalry days are fun, make it easy to travel. But yeah, it means a lot of teams you don't see an opponent until pretty far into the year.
Now it'll go up and in, but it catches a bit of the black for a strike. Well, and you think about what the schedule will look like when there's a 10th team in the league. Who knows when that'll come, as the runner's going to go over to third and just call that defensive indifference, as you can hear some rumbling from Brantford wondering why you even steal a bag at this stage of the game.
Yeah, everybody's different. I'm not a big unwritten rules guy. I think it's the trade-off of position player on the mound. This is like we say in the grand scheme of the season, this is competitive advantage for Brantford to not have a top bullpen arm on the mound right now. The trade-off for that is, all right, well, you're giving us opportunity, and again, get nobody when it comes time to decide, oh, am I getting a spot with?
Well, that's going to hit a spot. It's going to get right in front of Brody Black, throws back into the infield, and not even going to try to run home as Matteo Zeppieri. That'll keep runners on the corners.
But yeah, like I was saying, nobody, when it comes time to contract time and time to discuss what team you're playing with next year, nobody has a conversation. Oh, I would have had more stolen bases, but we were up in this game, we were in this game. You don't look at the situation; you just look at the numbers. And I think definitely certain players that are going to swipe bags at a high rate anyway. You take your opportunities. I understand people how it can come across as distasteful for me. I don't know. You play the situation you're given. You know what you're doing when you have a utility player pitching on the mound. It just kind of comes with the territory for me.
That'll go in. And, just on the talk of expansion, talking with the CBL commissioner, Ted Kellnans, the other day, it doesn't seem like anything's imminent at this time, whether it's for next year or even 2028 for that matter. I know there was some rumblings about Halifax perhaps being in conversation of joining the league in the next couple of seasons. But I think that was more of a Halifax reaching out to the CBL and asking, what do we have to do?
Yeah.
And I think, just the reports got blown out of proportion, and I think we're at I think, quite frankly, just having some conversations around, with people in the know in this league, the consensus is that one's going to go down the line foul. I think the consensus is, even if you wanted Halifax in the league, 2028's way too soon.
Yeah, so exactly the situation. You're not getting ownership to agree to travel just to go to Halifax, right? And same with Halifax. I mean, what's the benefit? You got to think of the cost there coming right in the league, traveling. Only Ontario teams. It's a bit like the NFL right now. There's been rumors of going to London forever. They play all these NFL London games. Jacksonville has become their semi-home team, but the reality is that they have a great fan base. They probably have an ownership group, but you're not going to get a team unless it becomes a truly international league there.
That one is another base hit. Add another one. 19 runs on the board here for Kitchener as a base hit comes off the bat of Trent Lawson. But as you were, Marshall, again, this, if you have a 10th team, you'd have to put Halifax in an East Division. And that kind of makes things unfair for some teams that are, probably going to have to play Halifax less. You think about the travel, as that one's going to go all the way to the backstop. Nobody's going to advance.
I think that because I don't think you could division it, though. I don't think you're getting Halifax in the league if you tell certain teams they got to play all these games.
I don't think that would pass whatsoever.
It would have to be all even. I think a more interesting, and this is a long-term question, I'd come into it with no information whatsoever. I think the pathway to a team like Halifax getting in the league,
a merger that brings, is that one sent very far foul in the left field.
Yes. I think the conversation, if you want a 10th team in the league, has to center around teams still in Ontario. It's got to be a slow build, in my opinion. You know, not Halifax, Ajax, Oshawa, as that one's going to skip off of Cassidy Watt. And
even Oshawa, big travel proposition as well.
Well, I think if you put Oshawa in there, that's when you have the division conversation and who would be in that division.
Sure, but then you're getting Hamilton in the East. You're getting somebody's getting a rough end there.
Yeah.
It's so tough.
The 2-1, that one's off the end of the bat. It's going to go foul. Well, if you do 10 teams and it is a team that is east of this vicinity here, I've been long about this where if the 10th team is east of this area, Kitchener, Guelph, you have Chatham, London, Kitchener, Guelph, and Brantford. There's your 5-team division there. Everybody else is east of us, and they go into the east. If it's Windsor, as that one's going to be sent into right center field all the way back, and that one is gone. Rafi Gross goes yard, and it's 22 runs on the board tonight for the Kitchener Panthers.
They're 1 away from tying. They're 2 away from beating the high mark on the season for runs. Kitchener, when it rains, it pours. Rafi Gross trying to keep track. That'll be his 3rd hit of the day. And then had a walk back in the first inning, the 1 strikeout. Awesome job by him, and he's had some just nice textbook plays out there on defense and center field. Great day for number 14.
Well, you can tell the stage of the game where we're at, where if a home team hits a home run like that, a 3-run shot, and we're just talking expansion talk, you're not seeing the excitement in our voices. Certainly not from you, because you are normally the Brantford broadcaster.
Hey,
But as that one is going to be sent down the line, all the way over to left field, and losing track of it is Ian Antone, and getting into second base is Jamie Cabral. But again, just to kind of finish the point on expansion, if it is, say, Windsor that gets added in, it's probably going to be Windsor, Chatham, Kent, London, and I'm sorry to say, buddy, but I think Brantford ends up in the East Division because you're not splitting Kitchener and Guelph.
It's all speculation. It just comes down to how the vote would break down. I don't know. I don't know who is. It's kind of similar to the OHL conversation every time they do expansion, right? Who are you?
Well, they haven't done it in a while. They have moved teams left and right and center in that league where eventually something's got to break where you got to realign the divisions in the OHL for sure.
Yeah,
when you have Brantford in the Eastern Conference and they are a stone's throw away from this region here.
Yeah.
And you're only having to play them once. Meantime, you got a team like Sudbury that's 3 hours away from Sault Ste. Marie, and that's still enough for them to play Sault Ste. Marie 3 times in the opposite conference.
Yeah, it's a proposition. OHL especially. I tell people all the time. I have people that complain, hey, what do you do with the divisions? This league travel's insane.
Samuele Bruno with a base hit. That'll go into left center. He's thinking about going, but he's going to stay over at first. That'll keep runners on the corners.
Only 1 out in the inning. They are very close. It is on the board. Kitchener can go for a new season high 24 runs here. Got men on the corners. 2 outs to spare.
And I'm trying to think the last time Kitchener has been able to put 22 runs on the board. I know a few years back they put 21 on Hamilton. And I think Hamilton still had 12 runs in that game. It was a long 4-hour affair. I do remember that one well, as that one sent down the line foul.
I'm going to go back here. We're going to do some research just to confirm, but I know there were a couple big games. One.
Well, there's a base hit, as that one is going to be a 23rd run on the board here for Kitchener. Another base hit, and it's Zane Scansey doing it this time. as Noah Boughton coming to the plate with some Motorhead blaring through the stadium speakers as he gets the newbie treatment. That'll go under the knees. That one right on over to Ortega. He'll get the outs. And that's just the second out of the inning.
Well, it all comes down to this, doesn't it? If the Panthers want a chance at the new season high, they got to do it right here. I'm going to go out on a limb and say there won't be a bottom half of the ninth, so this will probably be their final opportunity.
Well, it is the second time they have hit around the order. That'll go across for a strike.
Temperature's really dropped here at Jack Couch Park in
Yes, it has.
Kitchener.
It's Matteo Zeppieri, his 7th plate appearance of the game. That one is going to go high and deep.
It is
and
caught.
It's caught, indeed. So that's going to do it. And by the way, it was whispered to us, Kitchener against Brantford last year. Kitchener scored 20 runs in that game. 20-5 was the final. So Kitchener has beaten that mark. So it is, well, it's a lot to not enough between Kitchener and Brantford as we head to the 9th here at Jack Couch Park.
Get ready, Chatham Kents. For the first time ever in the new Canadian Baseball League era, the 2026 All-Star Showdown is landing at Fergie Jenkins Field on the July 11th and 12th weekend. The league's top talent all in one place. Watch the full slate of skills competitions, including the popular Home Run Derby on Saturday, and on Sunday, the ultimate 2026 CBL All-Star Game featuring your favorite players for a mid-season showdown. Chatham Kents, it's our time. The All-Star Weekend of the new CBL era. It's history in the making.
Into the 9th we go. Brett Reed looking to finish the job here for the Kitchener Panthers on what has been a fantastic night for Panthers fans. 23 runs on the board. It is a post-pandemic high for the Kitchener Panthers.
It's a good way to put it.
When it comes to runs scored in a game. A throw in there. Cam Bauer now in behind home plate for the Kitchener Panthers. It's the 3rd catcher of the night.
You don't see that much, do you? Holy cow.
And Brett Reed is now pitching for Kitchener. That one's crushed, but it's going to go foul. Jacob Cantor, his 5th plate appearance of the day.
I said it before. I don't remember the last game Jacob Cantor played that he didn't record a hit or at least a walk. Did have a fielder's choice back in the 7th, but would love a result here if you're him.
And I'll tell you right now, again, this is the unfortunate thing about having the new system and point streak going down and completely out. We don't exactly have the ability to go back between 2001. Well, we can go back to 2001, but we can't use the last 15 years as any kind of benchmarks to see what some scores were, as Scansey tries to go up, doesn't make the grab, though, and that'll be a base hit for Jacob Cantor.
Well, you talk about the slump there. At least he's going to go down today as 1 for 5.
So we'd love to tell you the last time Kitchener has scored 23 runs, but we'll try. We can try to be accurate as possible, but we'd just be guessing at this stage. But we can tell you that Kitchener has not scored 23 runs for sure since before the pandemic. And, pre-pandemic, especially the run that the Kitchener Panthers went on, all those finals appearances, not being able to get a championship under their belts, mind you, but, all those runs to the championship finals and all those great teams that they had, the Tanner Nivenses of the world, Keegan Marsden coming in later on, as that one's going to skip away from Cam Bauer. They had a lot of great nights. Unfortunately, not a lot of them were against the Barrie Bay Cats, much to their chagrin. But, nights like this kind of gives you those vibes back to what the Panthers could do. Swing and a miss for Brody Black.
That's kind of an interesting point. A question for you then, Mark, because obviously you know the team, you know the franchise back to the history a little better than I do. Looking at that great run, you have a great team. Again, you talk about not a championship team, but a team that makes all these finals, a team that has a lot of success. Where is that winning culture for the team as that one goes wide? The runner will advance there to third. Where is that winning culture kind of stored in a team, 8-9 years later? And how do you kind of re-tap into that to bring that championship pedigree back in this era?
It's a tough thing. It's all about the personnel and being able to just get the right things going. And I think Kitchener's kind of they're on the right track here. They've had their struggles over the last couple of seasons. You have new ownership coming in now. This is their second year, their second kick at the can here in 2026, as that one's going to miss inside. First year was a learning experience and wanting to bring that winning culture in here. Now is into the second year, trying to put the right players in place. And, you're given the extra options now that you're a professional league, now that you can put in an extra 3 imports onto this roster as well. It opens up those options to be able to bring in quality players, bring in quality pitchers, and establish that. And I think it really, at the end of the day, you can establish it behind the scenes, but the results need to speak for it on the field as well.
Yeah, I compare it again to the NIL era of like NCAA college sports, but you're going to see a lot of the same organizations, a lot of the same teams doing well in the new CBL era. But I think it more than ever is we will see a rare steal there. It might be a double as a runner going to come home here for Brantford on the wild pitch.
Yes, indeed they will. As you were.
But, yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of the same teams finding success in the new era. But I think what is undoubtedly a little bit different is that I think teams that have historically, at least of the last 5 years, been below the playoff cutoff, been kind of the teams looking up at, the top of the Londons, the Wellens, the Barries of the world. I think they kind of smell blood in the water in this new generation more than ever. And as that one's once again sent deep to left field foul, I think there is so much hope and opportunity and a lot of proliferation of really good talent on teams that have historically struggled a little bit more. And I think buttoning up the little things, I think coaching's got better at the teams that haven't made quite a few playoffs in this league in a while. There's just so much promise and potential and a lot of young squads at the bottom end, a lot of older, more veteran squads at the top end. Over time, that tends to lend its way towards good parity.
Oh, this is Lucas Lefebvre that's up to bat here, taking over for Walker Hultgren, number 8. Another former Panther on this roster. With a runner on, and that's going to skip off of Cam Bauer.
Yeah, Lucas Lefebvre, another
Coquitlam, BC native, one of a trio on this team.
Again, late stages of a game, just trying to establish some sort of momentum going into the game against Welland. The 2-2 got just enough of it to stay alive.
Yeah, it's no secret. Brantford likes their home ballpark. They like playing at Arnold Anderson. You often see the best version of them. And I've heard rumblings that the team feels really good for tomorrow about the way that Brantford keeps matching up against London. Obviously, or not London, pardon me, Welland. You can only say that so much because, again, the well-advertised 30-game head-to-head streak that the Welland's on in that matchup. But definitely some positives to look at there.
That'll be sent foul.
So still a runner there on second. Lucas Lefebvre he's appeared about 50-50 in games this season. That one struck there towards third.
Yes, indeed. That skips off of Boughton, and everybody's going to be safe.
So Nick Antone will come back up for his 5th time today. Again, talk about good sample size. You talk about getting opportunities. You like to see that if you're Ian Antone. Again, at least getting a chance to get back in good form. 1 walk. Other than that, no success on his plate appearances today.
That'll miss. So I imagine Boughton will get charged with the error on that one. It did skip off of him. So no base hit for Lucas Lefebvre. Runners on first and second here with nobody out in the 9th. Holds up. Count at 2-0. So in fact, this will be the most runs scored and by the Kitchener Panthers in a single game since a blowout win over the Barrie Bay Cats, ironically in 2017. Kitchener scored 26 runs in that game, as that one is going to be sent foul.
26. You said that was in Barrie or here in Kitchener?
That I wish I could tell you, my friend. Little bits at a time.
If you viewers could see the number of tabs at home that have, or the number of tabs that have been required to get this information together, Mark Perry is one of the all-time greats.
Look, I am stubborn as that one goes over the head. So are the Brantford Red Sox. They are stubborn as a run's going to come in on a slide-in RBI double. As Nick Antone does the job there.
Catcher number 15, Cassidy Watt.
And all of a sudden, the run totals up to 8 for Brantford.
Yeah, we've reached football score territory here, 23-8.
Well, flip the 3 and the 8, and you got Super Bowl 51 before Tom Brady. We all know what he did that night.
I sense an Atlanta Falcons fan in the booth, one of the 4 that exist.
No, I think she's actually a Steelers fan.
Oh, really?
Which is even worse.
Well, that's hopeful right now. My goodness.
That's going to go across for a strike.
Yeah, 20.
That'll go in for a strike as well.
I was going to say 23 is not bad. I don't think the Steelers have done that in a couple seasons. So.
No, it's been a while. And Patriots have made the Super Bowl more recently.
It's true. I think the quarterback is nearing senior discount territory as well, so it's not turning up over there in Steeltown.
Mash down the line. That's a fair ball. Boughton throw over to first and not going to be grabbed there by Lawson. And another run will come in to score. 2 runs will come in to score for Brantford, and the Red Sox have reached double figures.
23-10 here at Jack Couch Park. I'm going to give credit to Bowden. That was a heck of a throw there from third. Really nice initial glove. The transfer was almost seamless. Just didn't even have time to shift his body weight, but that was a laser. Just was missed there on the receiving side on first base.
So again, almost 10 years. In fact, 9 years, I should say, as that's going to go across Broadway for a strike. 9 years since the Panthers have put up at least 23 runs. It has been a great night, but they need to get out of this one in a hurry. That's so they don't burn out more arms, because Brantford is not going away quietly.
Yeah, I mean, we say it again. What's the number? What's the number you got to get to before you stop prioritizing keeping your arms out of the game?
That'll miss inside.
I mean, I say that. I know it's still 13 runs here at this point, but the momentum is just entirely in the corner of Brantford in this offensive trip. No outs in the inning. Haven't come particularly close. We did see a full count earlier in the top 9.
Swing and a miss for strike 2. Still nobody out here in the 9th.
It is a really big spot here for Reed.
Here it comes, a 2-2, and Bauer blocks it in front of him.
Speaking of full count, this will be the second one of the half inning.
Needs a big out here if you're Brett Reed. Down the line, that's a fair ball. Base hit for Tim Holick. It's going to go all the way down the line. Throw in from Zeppieri, and he is safe.
Well, the bats have woken up. They're certainly going to go in with a little more form tomorrow at home versus Welland than they were expecting, but
First baseman number 21, Chris Ortega.
I'm keeping my eye. There is an emergency. Somebody has run into the bullpen with quite a run of speed there for Kitchener. I'm not surprised to see that.
I think Pete Kiefer said, okay, we need to get out of this. I think Bowen Cologne might come into this game very shortly, which is very unfortunate. You do not want to burn more arms in the back half of your bullpen at this stage of the game. That one's fouled back by Chris Ortega.
I think that'll kind of be an interesting litmus test is how real is this kind of offensive surge the Red Sox are on right now? If they wrap all the way back around top of the lineup to face a guy like Cologne, then I'm curious what you see. Then I'm curious how much of this still transfers over and if they're still in pretty good hitting form. Because, again, cold day. We've probably dropped 10 degrees below starting temperature here by this point. It's dark. It's cold. It's, I think a lot of guys, good chance to get out of form. Instead, Brantford has actually started to find their stuff here a little bit.
Losing the bat there was Ortega as it just flies out of his hand. Everybody scattering.
That one almost ended up on Highway 78. That was launched.
It's been one of those kind of nights, folks. It's been one of those nights. And I know the Panthers put together kind of a wrap-up of the game, kind of like a game in 5 or a game in 7. How do you contain this in 7 minutes?
game in half an hour and some change. That's what this is going to turn into.
Might need to stretch out the time limits. This isn't exactly fitting into an Instagram reel.
I just heard somebody ask when the sprinklers come on. That's actually a really good point.
Well, it's 10:34, so we are 3.5 hours into this one.
We had a ball game in Brantford end at 12-11 earlier this year. It can always go later.
That one's a deep fly ball to left field, and that one is gone. Chris Ortega goes yard for the second time tonight. And the run differential is down to 10. And I'd imagine that the batter count is going to be very, very limited here for Brett Reed, as there is someone warming up in a hurry in the Kitchener Panthers bullpen.
Chris Ortega, second shot of the day again. If he knows what's coming, if he can predict any sort of pitch sit on anything, he has power for days. What a blast there out to left field. That brings the advantage down to 10, and I think if you told us 2 innings ago it would even get that close, we'd be amazed.
So Jake Liberta is warming up for Kitchener, and I think if Lucas Bateman reaches, you're probably turning to Jake Liberta. And that's going to miss right at the knees.
I at this point, though, like they're starting to see stuff. I know it's predictable. I know it hasn't been a ton of pitch mix here, but Brantford is seeing the baseball in a way they just weren't in the early innings. And
that's down the line. That is a foul ball, and you can hear the Brantford side.
They're in this ball game.
Very much.
They're back dialed in.
Everybody's at the top step. That just tells you everything you need to know.
We should reiterate, at the start of the inning, it was 23-6. We now sit 23-13.
Yeah. 7 runs on the board for Brantford. This is the 8th pitcher, or the 8th batter of the inning. That's going to miss inside.
No outs in the inning.
Brantford bat around the order back in the 7th. They are 2 batters away from doing that here in the 9th in a game that, if you told us that a couple of innings ago, I'd say you're crazy. That one's going to be sent foul. But you have to give this Brantford Red Sox team credit and just the fight that they have had in the last couple of innings.
No, 100%. It's so easy to say, oh, you're phoning it in. It doesn't matter. You hit a certain point. You find your limit. But again, we talk about the value. Get in a rhythm. Go into tomorrow. Be a goldfish. Forget how the game started. Forget the opening inning. Say, hey, here's what we were able to produce towards the end. Let's try to do that again tomorrow against Welland.
That one sent sky high, deep into left field. That one is back, and that one is gone. Lucas Bateman goes yard. Second home run of the inning. Back-to-back jacks for Brantford. And they have 14 runs on the board.
Just out of hand here.
Still nobody out in this inning.
It is going, and it is going, and it is going.
And I think that's going to be it for Brett Reed. Has not retired a single batter. 8 batters up. 8 batters have crossed the plate. And I think Jake Liberta is going to come in for the Kitchener Panthers to try to close this one out. 23-14 the score line. We're going to take a final break here as the Brantford Red Sox are starting to climb back up into this game, despite the fact that it's still a 9-run differential. Welcome back inside Jack Couch Park here in Kitchener. And Marshall, we are witnessing an offensive onslaught from both sides.
We are indeed, and congratulations to Mr. Lucas Bateman, 82nd career game over 5 seasons in the Canadian Baseball League. His first career CBL home run a moment ago.
Count it up. 37 runs have been scored in this game.
Previous high on the season combined runs this year in the CBL. Most in a game, 25 runs combined between the two. Here in Kitchener, we're up to 37.
A.J. Carosis is the batter. Still nobody out here in the 9th, and it is Jake Liberta coming in here for the Panthers. And that's going to go across for a strike. What an inning for the Brantford Red Sox. And if you're the Welland Jackfish, you're watching tape on this 9th inning. There's a swing and a miss for strike 3. First out miraculously for Kitchener.
Talk about a momentum swing in 3 pitches. Liberta came out with heat, had a live fastball on 2 of those pitches. Just had Carosis in on his back foot there after what was a pretty slow going couple first at-bats of the inning. Way to change the pace there.
We've had a 9-run inning. We're currently sitting on an 8-run inning and counting. We had a 5-run inning for the Panthers back in the 8th. There has not been a single run inning in this game, as that one's going to be sent into foul ground. Lawson's not going to get to it. The hits have been aplenty. The runs have been aplenty. The Kitchener Panthers putting up a run total not seen in almost a decade, and they are still battling here against the Red Sox team, as that's going to go in for a strike against a Red Sox team that is not going away at all.
Well, they're starting to. Liberta has just come in and he is dealing right now.
Upstairs. Well, we can tell you, again, Kitchener in London tomorrow night, and there's a swing and a miss. He went around, and that's going to be strike 3, a pair of Ks here for Jake Liberta since coming into the ball game.
Brody Black, reigning CBL Player of the Week. Here he comes, making his 6th appearance of the ball game. Would not have thought he was going to get that deep with only 2 appearances in the first 5 innings, but again with his offensive onslaught, he's up here today. 2 singles and a walk on the day for him.
The delivery inside, that's going to miss and skip off the glove of Cam Bauer. And I mean, that's another thing to talk about here too, the amount of defensive substitutions we have seen, and I guess by necessity, just to give guys some breaks and give some guys some extra ABs with the game. It was out of reach, still is for the most part here for Kitchener. But don't tell Brantford that, as he went around, did Brody Black there, and that's going to be strike number 1. There's a swing and a miss. And the Red Sox are down to their final strike. And you can hear what is left of the Panthers crowd here, trying to give Jake Liberta some energy to finish this one off. Here comes the payoff. Swing and a miss, strike 3. The Panthers get out of it. Jake Liberta, 3 straight strikeouts. And the Kitchener Panthers with a 23-14 win. It's not a football score, but it seems like it. The Kitchener Panthers have snapped a 6-game losing skid in a fashion that you didn't think was going to be coming.
You didn't.
6 home runs on the board, 23 runs. The first time they have scored that amount in 9 seasons. We'll be taking a break. We'll come back to wrap this one up here on KPTV Live.
At the Carpet Store in Kitchener, we've been flooring homes and businesses for over 30 years. Family run, local, and proud. From carpet to hardwood, luxury vinyl, tile, and more, we offer free measures, no commitment quotes, and expert installation. With Canadian-made options and solutions for any budget, our team is with you from start to finish. New builds, renovations, commercial jobs, we handle it all. Visit the Carpet Store Kitchener, where great floors begin.
All right, Marshall, a final score of 23-14. The Kitchener Panthers, they seemingly were blowing out the Red Sox, but the Red Sox said, you know what, let's try to get some momentum going into our next game. But there you see a season high for runs between two teams in the CBL this season. And Marshall, this was a marathon. No bones about it.
There was nothing sprint about any of this, and I think it really speaks to who these two teams are, what they have in the tank, and what they're capable of on offense. We advertised it coming into today. Hitters Park, two of the great offensive ceilings in the league, because on an individual level, Malik Williams, 7 RBIs today, ridiculous in 4 plate appearances. But on a greater level, again, you saw there towards the end when Brantford can really get ahead of pitching, when they can understand what they're looking at. Again, I talked about seeing a pitcher through the order multiple times. That's what's capable for this team, and they know that on offense, and they know they have it in the tank for a big game tomorrow against Welland. That's why, again, two teams that are currently below the playoff line, they're trying to chase back above. Teams in the league should be afraid, knowing this is in both of these squads, and it can pop at any time. That's what's fun about these teams, fun about the league. And it was a marathon here today, but in a very interesting way. We were almost a part of history. We were almost a part of Panthers history. And as of this season, this is the high benchmark for runs in a game. And if I had to make a guess, I don't think it's getting beaten.
Well, for the first time since July 29th, 2017, when Kitchener put 26 runs on the board, they put 23 on the board here. And very quickly, we can't forget about the contributions of Evan Elliott, tying a season high when it comes to 6 innings pitched. Only gives up the 2 runs, 5 hits, 3 strikeouts, got in and out of innings, got on and off the mound very quickly on the night, and just a big contribution as he collects his first win of the season.
Yeah, he looked really strong. He did a really good job. He kind of did what I said both starting pitchers were going to do: control the zone early, put a lot of stuff in. He seemed to deal better with I call the tighter zone today. It was a pretty small called zone on the sides. He did a really good job understanding that, so a lot of stuff was hittable to pitchers. He really didn't even need to ground into contact, though. Did a good job racking up the strikeouts. A couple things in play, a couple liners out that were well caught. And the Kitchener defense, I talked about that positive feedback loop. As a pitcher, you want to see your defense behind you. You want to know you can trust them on the easy plays, but as your defense, you don't have to worry too much. You don't have to press on the offensive side of the plate when you know your starter's giving you a great game. Elliott did so today.
On the opposite side, Connor Irvine, he gives up 7 runs on the night. He only goes 3 innings in the loss, gives up a ton of hits. The 4th inning was really the story for the Kitchener Panthers. 9 runs on, count them up, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 batters coming up to the plate. Irvine takes the loss. And, just kind of one of those palate cleansers, if you will, just to kind of wrap this up here. The Kitchener Panthers, snapping a 6-game losing skid in dramatic fashion, really, with 23 runs on the board. Marshall, thanks so much. You're going to be on the call tomorrow for Brantford. as they will take on the Welland Jackfish.
It's actually going to be, for me, it's actually probably going to be a rare off day. I think if you're a Brantford fan, you're a fan of my color commentator, Brian Hawley, again, former bench coach here in Kitchener. He's actually going to be on the call for that game. I think I'm going to step back and do kind of a directorial role. We're going to do kind of we're going to do a bullpen game on the broadcast. We're going to have players that are away that aren't designated active. Going to come up and join them in the broadcast booth. We want to give a bit of something different for the fans on Friday in Welland. And there's going to be a lot of pieces. We're going to try to add some new stuff on our Brantford show there tomorrow. So I'm going to kind of facilitate that as the director of media.
Well, Brantford fans, we'll see what happens there tomorrow night at home. The Kitchener Panthers on the road in London tomorrow night. And then coming back here on Sunday, the Barrie Bay Cats are in town for a 2:05 first pitch. Until then, my name is Mark Perry alongside Marshall Crocker. We will see you next time here once again. The final score, the Kitchener Panthers 23, the Brantford Red Sox 14.